You know what? I can hear you on the phone, so hold on. Yes, I can. Wait, I done lost the jam. Hold on. Oh man, I done lost the weapon. Okay. Go ahead. Oh, you know what? I want to be able to see YouTube from. I got this big thing. Okay, perfect. All right, perfect. Oh, this has a lag thing. I ain't gonna be able to do that. All right. Okay, perfect. Technology. While everyone is coming in, if I can see the comment chat, I can't see the chat here on Webinar Jam. Do you have it turned off temporarily? Hey, who is that, Malika? Hey, sis, how are you? Y'all like they gonna log on both just in case. I know that's right. So as we're getting started, for those that are in the chat, if you could drop a heart in the chat, if you could drop a plant in the chat, if you're gonna stay rooted. I feel like I'm gonna be dropping some seeds tonight. I'm just gonna tell y'all really quickly. Forgive me in advance. Um, I'm on grandmom duty, so my grandson is here just in case that he pops in, say something or two. Just y'all stay focused, okay? Also for my family, for my seeds, my trustees, welcome. If you're watching for the first time, stay rooted. If you're watching the playback, stay rooted. Shout out to my YouTube family because you know I'm fairly new on YouTube, y'all. So love on me over there if you're not on there yet. Because 2026, I have a lot of things that I am preparing in store. I already started 2026, but I'll say it for the sake of this video. Preparing for 2026, which is you got to be prepared. Give me the green light, path to freedom. I know we're waiting a little bit on some more people to join in. Okay. I see the hearts. I see the love. I see the fire already. I love coming with that energy. We're looking at the chat box on YouTube. Peace, peace, peace. What's going on, y'all? Assalamu alaikum, all my brothers and sisters. Gotcha. As we're getting prepared, you know, I want you guys to have a clear mind, clear hearts. You know, there are some individuals that are coming here that are looking to gain a lot of information. I'm here to do all that I can. There are some people that are already way ahead of others. So again, be patient with us as we help. This is kind of like a beginner's intermediate kind of meeting, should I say. Forgive me, I'm looking on all these different platforms. I have to wear my glasses today as I'm getting older, y'all. I got to wear my glasses. So for those that have their trust documents and certificate of trust, have I would like to say like a little cheat sheet on the side for those that don't have their documents and have not, you know, invest yet within themselves. Have some paper, get a pen, a notebook, even though we're saying that this is a free class, or I like to call it a family meeting, right? Take heed to this information because for you guys being in the room like this. I was not even fortunate to be in a room like this before I became a trustee and a successor trustee. For those that don't know my story, hey y'all. For those that don't know my story, I do want to open up with that as well, as we're giving time for people to log on Webinar Jam as well. I'm going to be shifting back and forth to screens. For those that are tuning in, let me know if y'all can see me on Webinar Jam, please. I know that I see comments in the YouTube, but let me know if y'all can still see me on Webinar Jam. Right? So for those that don't know my story, Webinar Jam video or audio. So let me know. No, we cannot hear or see. So let me ask you this. Can y'all still hear me? When I do this, can y'all still hear me on YouTube? And can you guys hear me on YouTube? And can you guys see me on YouTube? Because right now I'm live streaming. Because once I go to Webinar Jam, I will not be on YouTube. So, I mean, I'm streaming it, but I want to make sure. Perfect. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, perfect, perfect. But either way, y'all, we haven't really got started. I'm just kind of opening up. I want the green light. When I get the green light, I get the thumbs up. I have my phone here as well. We're going to get started. So I have been on YouTube kind of talking and things like that. And I know people are kind of bouncing back and forth and they want to get stable and situated before we get started. But for those that don't know my story and for those that don't know my background, I just want to go really, really quickly and really brief with you guys. One, I'm a trustee, right? And not only that, I am a successor trustee. Some individuals may call it a trustee, a succession trustee, but I had learned based on the structure of my father's trust when he created his trust when he was alive. My father has transitioned on. May Allah forgive him of his sins and also grant him, Jenta and Jenna, and Jenna. But when it comes to this process, I didn't even know what we really was preparing for. And that may be some of you guys today. One, I started off with my trust first, and then again, I educated my family. That may be your guys' story as well. Maybe you are the one on the front line for your bloodline. Maybe you are the one that's taking heed to this information, and you're like, none of my family members are listening. Nobody's taking heed to this. It's just me. It's just me trying to get started. Don't give up, because guess what? Along on this journey, my father seen what I was doing and he was like, whoa, all this that's going on. Every time it was something that came up with him, I'm like, look, Dad, you got to get this, got to get that. Even though he was very knowledgeable in certain areas, he did not take heed to the information. Can some of y'all put in the chat, that was me, I hoarded information? And then not only that, you're looking at a family member that didn't come from wealth and riches, and you trying to go back and tell your family how this is so important, how this is what we need. And they're looking at you like you ain't got two quarters to rub together. Right. Right. So that was what my father did, was he was able to step back and say to himself, you know what, even though I know this information, I know a lot, I got to step back and say some things that I just don't know. And again, this very well may be some of you guys. That was me years ago. I walked into this business deal. For those that don't know my background, I used to operate in collections. I used to own a collection agency, but before I got granted partnership or was able to get grandfathered, that's what really happened. I got grandfathered into the company. Those owners said, no, 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 you cannot do business with us if you don't have a trust. So they introduced me to their attorneys as well. And I just had this document that was under the umbrella of ownership of this business. That's how I got started initially. But when I started getting educated, started learning about it, you guys, I did meet people that was kind of educating me or helping me understand trust. And guess what? Even back then, I could not believe it. I was like, you're not about to tell me the trust this, the trust that. I'm scared of this. I was operating in fear. I was like, I don't know. That trust was barely funded. Okay. It just had the business in there and the business bank account until I went through a bad partnership. Once I went through a bad partnership, From there, once I went through a bad partnership, from there, I knew that this trust was more powerful than I thought. All right. So that's what led me into I need to find out about this. Was for you that you guys that's on your journey yourself, for you guys that went to an attorney and still walked out of that attorney's office and don't know anything about trust. It is still on you to make sure that you understand the core concept, the value of trust. Some of you guys are operating and stating that I can't afford the trust. But if you understood what the trust can protect the value of the things that you do have, then you'll be able to make sure that you'll be able to afford it. It's like, it's a saying that I have, you better go find a fortune. You better find a fortune, right? I say that jokingly, but yes, you want to make sure that you shift your mindset to invest into the things that you need and not when you need it. Y'all picking up what I'm dropping? And not when you need it. Some people coming to us and saying, oh, I need a trust. I need trust. I got sued already. I need to get an understanding about trust. I'm going through a divorce. Yes, you still need to do these things. I'm not taking away from when you decide to get active, but most of the time it's like, oh my goodness, they took everything through probate, fighting through probate, all this stuff that I've done seen people, somebody just passed away, and oh my goodness, I don't want to go through that. I don't want my children to go through that. So for those that are in here today, this afternoon, whatever time you're watching the replay, welcome and stay rooted. Drop some hearts in the chat. Y'all ready to get started? All right, I'm ready for you. You ready? Mika, they cannot hear over here and they cannot see the chat box. You could go ahead and put the presentation slide on. I'm ready to get started. I'm gonna have to probably. Yeah, webinar jam. We cannot hear or see, from my understanding. I can hear you, but if you can can you open up the chat box on webinar jam so I can see if they can hear or see? I can't. They're commenting over in YouTube. Hold on. Oh, okay. Let me do something here. And now, perfect. I see them. Hey, y'all. I got you. Yeah. Yep. I'm ready. Now, how would I get this to be big on the screen? Oh, let me start here. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Listen, y'all, bear with us, okay? I love this. That's why I like to call it a family meeting because, again, you don't have to seem like you got to be so perfect. Hello. Uh-huh. All right, you guys, I like to put my disclaimer here to protect the legal liability of the person speaking. One, I am Layla Lockwood. Some of y'all like to call me y'all favorite trustee, but let me go ahead and tell you. I'll let you guys decide at the end of this. Okay. Let me keep my camera on because again, I am live streaming. Duh, that makes sense, right? I am a representative of LAYLA LOCKWOOD LLC. See, I better pick that up too. I'm a representative. I am not the entity, and as well, I am not an attorney. I don't present myself to be an attorney. I don't speak like an attorney. I don't act like an attorney. I don't walk like an attorney. I don't even care to be one. Hello, I don't mind working with them, but I will tell you this just to protect myself and the intellectual property and the integrity of this community. From Path to Freedom's community, you guys are like my cousins, you know what I'm saying? And for my inner C circle, my C's, my trustees, right? I love y'all down. Y'all help me keep it motivated and keep it moving. So we do want to make sure that we respect both communities here because we are collaborating. And I want to clearly state, again, I am not an attorney. And this information material will not constitute as legal advice or financial advice. Hey, it won't even constitute as relationship advice. Hello. Okay. All right. It's just to offer you guidance and it's for educational purposes only. Or again, I like to say a family meeting. So it's just good to inform you guys. And in no way do we promote fraud, deceit, or offensive content. Maybe I am meeting you where you are. So if this information sounds brand new, this information sounds like I'm not sure how this works. Again, do your due diligence and check behind me or Path of Freedom. Also, when it comes to this content, it is not to be offensive. So again, if I may say some things that does not align with you, take heed to what it is and then do it in moderation. Hey, I may say something that may go over your head, but it all comes from the heart. It comes from a great place. Also, I shall not be held liable for any conduct or content used of any party viewing this video. I know how y'all like to say, Layla said, okay? Y'all like to call everybody and say, I seen it on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, okay? Take this information. You can embody it, but make it your own. All that you guys that are doing this for is for your family, your legacy, right? And need to know the intentions of why you're here. If you want to learn, if you want to grow, if you want to add more information and say, I didn't look at it this way. Hopefully that'll help you. So this is going to be based on that. And I am not responsible for how you receive this information. Enjoy this family meeting. Okay. All right. So while we're here is understanding that setting up a family trust or setting up this irrevocable trust or revocable trust, you want to do it without fear. Okay. There's no law that is mandated that you cannot set up the trust on your own. We want you to learn how to do these things. A lot of people will say it's so complex. A lot of people will say, you got to be careful. You got to make sure. But I always tell people to start somewhere. Start internalizing that once I start getting invested into trust, one, I got to take it serious. I need to know that I cannot think, walk, and talk the same because the purpose of this document is to protect the things that you amass in your lifetime. So let's keep that in mind first. The reason that we all are here is to avoid going through probate process. Some of you can attest that maybe your family went through something. Maybe you've seen someone go through something. Maybe someone got sued. Maybe someone's going through an ugly, nasty divorce. And they're like, I am never going to do this again without a trust. And some of you may have even not went through any of those things. And you're like, I have now is the right time, or now is the time for me to learn more about it or get invested into it. All right. So many people delay creating an irrevocable trust. Yes, I'm going to start off with heavy irrevocable trust because we will get into why I am stronghead on irrevocable trust. I'm going to just get right to it. I'm going to get right to it. Okay. They fear of making a costly mistake or they don't fully understand the process. I'm not, I understand that you don't want to make a mistake because irrevocable trust is supposed to be intended for in a long intended time for you not to make changes. I get that. But let me just say this. When you are the grantor, the one who creates the trust with an irrevocable trust, you give up the ownership. Okay. I wish I had some things in front of me so I can demonstrate because y'all, I like to learn. I'm a visual learner. So y'all might just be learning under my dyslexia. Okay. I'm a visual learner. So when I give up the ownership, it is totally away from my control personally. All right. When you understand that process, it should not put fear and say, oh, I don't want to let these things go. I don't want to not own this home. I don't want to not own this bank account. I want to release it of my ownership. You know why? Because it's valuable. If anybody tries to come after me and sue me, or one of the major things is that, what if I pass away? I don't want to die owning these things. You know, that saying is, and some of y'all gonna put it in the chat, we cannot take it with us when we die. We hear it all the time, but why do people still keep valuable things in their name as owner? Right. So this presentation will guide you through understanding first before establishing a trust. Okay. Or if you already have a trust, it's going to help you through this session with confidence and clarity and a peace of mind to learn, to understand. Do I truly understand what I'm doing? Do I understand trust? Do I understand why I'm even here? Some people just here because they're nosy. That's okay. You're in the right place at the right time. Right. So you'll learn why the foundation matters. That core foundation. Oh, I don't want to set up a trust because I don't have nothing yet. I don't have no assets. Or I hear things like the little assets that I do have. Can you point to yourself and say, I am an asset? Point to yourself. I literally want you to point to say, I am an asset. Because if you don't believe that, every time you give your soul Social Security, every time you give your information away, they're holding you as collateral. Your Social Security, they're going to hold your collateral as an exchange of insurance or to do business with you. And until you realize I am the asset that you need me to do business with you, right? We cannot do this without you. Yes. I beg of you. I need you. Okay. So let's learn how to avoid the common mistakes and also what makes proper structure of a trust works for generations. Okay. I've seen a lot of situations where someone says, I created a trust, and then or my family members had a trust. Let's use our ancestors, like grandmother, great great grandmothers, great 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 grandfathers, right? They may have created a trust, and then when it got to the next generation in their hands, they didn't have the information. So then it started, and then it stops with them. So now when I started to understand, when we say generational wealth, what does that mean? To me, now that I know, it means that when someone has positioned themselves while they're living and they wrote out their plan, the legacy was not to leave debt, it was to leave wealth. And in order to get access to this wealth, it has to be funded, this trust. It has to be me with knowing the knowledge, having the information too, and as well having the right mindset that, okay, now that I have another generation to pass it down to, so I got to take this role and responsibility so serious, and I have to make sure that someone left me with instructions, information, and assets, and I'm gonna keep it in the trust, and I'm going to pass the role and responsibility to the next generation. You see how I didn't say asset? You see how I didn't say I'm going to pass the next asset to the next generation? We want to keep the assets in the trust, in the name of the trust, and then we're going to pass the roles. This is why we're adding roles as we're growing our family through generation after generation. Somebody drop a fire in the chat if y'all picking up what I'm dropping so far. Let me know. Y'all picking up what I'm dropping so far. Perfect. I see 100 in the chat. All right. All right. I'm bouncing back and forth. Now, what you need to know before establishing an irrevocable trust, your trust, and I say your because again, the grantor is the one who created the trust. I hear this like, oh, I don't want to put my social, I don't want to give my information to the IRS. Can we say in the chat or in your notes, IRS is for Internal Revenue Services. So even though if you obtain a EIN, right, giving them information of you is making sure that you understand you're the grantor, the one who created the trust. Okay. So now that gives you power and control to start taking those things out of your name and handing it over to the trust that has now its new identity. The trust is a person. That person has its own identity. It has its own address. It has its own EIN. It has its own unique private name. Okay. So these are understanding these concepts, right? This is why we want to totally separate it from my natural name. I wanted to have that anonymity. I wanted to have that privacy. And then we're going to make sure that it's structured in a way that it has that protection. So that privacy and protection are two different things when you have it structured in a way that it can work in your favor on both sides. Privacy, meaning that you don't know that this is something that is connected to me, that is the trust that owns it, not myself. Okay. Now, investing in the time to understand the values of this concept. I get people to say, I just want to trust because you said so, because Path of Freedom posted, right? I see it all up and down the timeline, right? We see it every day now up and down the timeline, right? If it's attorneys that got online, hello, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I just got it. Yeah. Thank you for getting on there and now being forced to properly educate them because you see so many people talk about irrevocable trust. Now you got to get on there and talk about irrevocable trust. We've done our job. Okay. The more that we talk about it, some people may say, oh, you're not qualified. You know, I always say qualify yourself, but I want you to truly understand the core concept before you just start trying to think, oh, this is working for everybody else. Let me get on and start talking about it. Okay. The most valuable concept, which a lot of people don't know, is to protect the asset and protect you while you're building the asset, or should I say, building the wealth portfolio. So a lot of people may say, I'm going to set up a trust and I'm going to put the trust as the owner of the business. Now on paper, we're broke on paper. On paper, it does not show that you own the entity. You know why? Because the trust is the owner. No one can own a trust. You can only manage the trust, right? Not only that, if you own it, they're looking for your personal and private information, your social security number, your date of birth, your home address. They're looking for what is connected to you publicly, excuse me. So when you now shift to say, oh, now I get why we would totally give up the ownership. Now, based on you understanding now how to maneuver in your business, you have to have paperwork that is connected to your business to show that the trust is the owner. So now you got to get out your own way. You can't be just signing stuff on your business. It's no longer yours. You can't just be speaking on behalf of your business. It's no longer, speaking as your business, as you're the owner, it's no longer yours. You can now act on behalf of the business. You can now sign on behalf of the trust that owns the business. So now you start seeing that it's working through layers and levels based on how you structure it. Okay. Also, you don't need to become a legal expert. I hear it all up and down the timeline. According to section 3-146, everybody calm down. Okay. I love that when I get a lot of responses from people to say, you just make it sound so easy. It's not that I make it sound so easy, is that I'm trying to get you to understand what I understood, is that it is made to be understand hard. So you could depend and rely on those that is educating you, whether it be the attorney in your consultation. I say go to your consultation very well prepared. I'm not going to never tell you not to go to an attorney. If you make the decision after learning from this information tonight and you say, I could do this on my own, that is on you, okay? And up to your ability. But I've had numerous conversations with attorneys that have opened their eyes and say, I didn't think of it this way. I didn't think of it that way. Majority of the people do not come to us for that type of structure. That is considered complexity. That is considered more a different type of structure. And I said, well, why don't you educate them in both sectors so they can make a choice, right? So this is why another important concept is come knowing what you want and what you need. All right. So you don't have to be a legal expert, but explain, because these are your instructions. Yes, an attorney can draw them up. A legal professional can draw it up. But when it comes to you drawing it up yourself, you still want to have the information. Okay. So no, I'm not telling you after tonight, we're going to all walk away as legal professionals, but you do want to take it serious enough to be more informed so you know how to make decisions, that you not just base it off of emotion. Okay. And also the knowledge. The knowledge is knowing that I don't want to mess this up. You can have a private trust and it could be weak based on you commingled it or you didn't sign a proper way. You didn't get it properly notarized in your jurisdiction. These are certain things that people miss. All right. So understanding the differences between revocable and irrevocable. Let me know, am I going too fast or I'm going too slow? Are y'all picking up what I'm dropping? You want to be able to trust your trust. Okay. All right. So revocable, the root word of the etymology, right, is revoke. And I started digging really deep into revocable. This is why I can tell you why I can confess as to why I stand firm on irrevocable. Everybody might not agree with me. Okay. So let's walk down this really quickly. Revocable, when I looked at the concept that when you set up this document, it can still be connected to you. You can have all this, multiple controls of change and add and remove. And then it stated, this was the one that really rocked me. Okay. During your lifetime, being in control of this revocable trust as you're funding the trust, it don't protect the asset. Nothing like that for y'all, right? And I stated to myself, then why do we need one? Oh, it's to protect probate. It avoids public probate process or public distributions. Now, here's where my background came into play. My 10,000 hours of owning a collection agency, operating in the four-wall structures of debt collections and buying private and personal people's information. Even with the revocable trust, we've seen families went through a private probate process, but they didn't call it probate. Credit card company, it could be a judgment, it could be a lien, it can be a tax lien, levy, bank levy. All of these things can sue the estate with a revocable trust. Because remember, if you still have control as the grantor, the one who created the trust, then those assets are still connected to your estate. Remember, the core concept of creating a trust is protected. And remember, you are the first asset to protect you. So if you are still connected to these assets, it will allow a creditor to sue the estate. Now, the misnomer, we got to clarify what has been told over and over again. A revocable trust turns irrevocable when the grantor, the one who created the trust, dies. I looked deep into that. Now, again, like I stated, you guys, I'm not trying to tell you that the people have been saying this that are lying or they're trying to mislead you, but I have looked into multiple situations where you don't find out until after somebody passed away and the assets are still being taken through this lawsuit. If you don't believe me, look at the public cases, and we like to use celebrities, I don't like to use nobody. We like to utilize celebrity cases because it's very, it's huge. It's on a bigger level. Like we could just see it versus looking at somebody, auntie and uncle, through the public record, right? So it shows that a creditor can still sue the estate. Guess who's going to pay out? Not the grantor, because the grantor passed away. That part becomes irrevocable, that the grantor can no longer make the change. So that's what it means by a revocable becomes irrevocable at the time of the grantor's death. But it is in state law and trust law that the trustee of the trust must facilitate the payout. I'm going to use one major case that was recent that I have been doing studies on, and I want you guys that are all here or watching the replay to look up this case, and it was O.J. Simpson. The reason why this became a study that I wanted to follow is because I said, why did this attorney within the 2 weeks before his passing set up a revocable trust for him? Because we know that there's a 3 to 5 year look back period. We want to pay attention to these things when we're moving assets, knowing that you owe a debt, right? We know that an irrevocable trust protects assets because you gave up the control. You don't need to have control over the asset as a grantor. So when people say an irrevocable trust, you don't have control. You can facilitate control based on the instructions in your trust. The trust is the instruction, so you have control without having hands-on control. Okay? So an irrevocable trust will allow you to make changes if you have a trust protector, if you facilitate someone to be a trustee. You can appoint someone else to be a trustee to make those changes. You can have a sit down, an agreement to say, at the time that I created this trust, the intentions are no longer the same. I want to now decant it, which is updating it. I want to update it. I'm not changing the entire structure. I just need to update it. Okay. Revising and update it. Okay. Not completely just, I'm not going to make no changes and I'm stuck and I didn't gave up all my ownership. I gave up my control and then I don't have no say so. It don't work like that. This is why an irrevocable living trust matters, because some people think that living trust is just the person that is still living, has control, and it has no asset protection. Clauses is what makes your trust stronger of protecting the assets and protecting you, the person that created it. All right. Drop a heart in the chat. Y'all picking up what I'm dropping. I know I got to flow because I'll be long-winded. All right. Ready to study. Discretionary. We ain't get there yet. Let's talk about it. We're going to get there. Somebody said, say what? Yeah, I said the same thing. Okay. Now, understanding also grantor versus non-grantor. You think, oh my goodness, I am going to have somebody set it up first and then they're going to pass over the role to me and then they're going to relinquish control. I don't know where y'all getting this stuff from. If you want to protect your estate, if you know that I am the family member, then I have children, I am a spouse or what have you. Maybe it's just you, yourself, and I. And you say, you know what? I got businesses, I got a bank account, I got life insurance policies. I want to just protect these things. Okay, let me just talk to really quickly. Let's just talk to somebody that don't have a spouse and don't have children, because I know some of y'all feel like y'all left out sometimes. You can still create a trust for the sake and the benefit of the things that you amass in your lifetime. You are still valuable. You are still important. If you say, you know what, in my demise and my passing, we don't know the time, the day, nor the hour, right? But we know it's inevitable. So we know that, let me just have a plan in place, even though if I don't have any children or spouse yet, okay, because there may be some people still working on it, all right? You still want to protect your assets and allow the trust to hold it. That's another thing. The trust is to hold the assets for the protection. A lot of you guys get a trust, you fund it, you put the trust back out in the field. Remember, it's a person. So if the trust go out and borrow, the trust go out and sign things and it's buying things, that is a person. So if you default an agreement with this business, if you're in this business and the trust does not meet the same common denominator of this agreement, that other person can sue the trust. And they're going to come after the trustee because you're acting on behalf of the trust. All right. So let's still talk about it. Grantor versus non-grantor. The grantor, the one who creates the trust, retains the control. You're still taxed on it. This is why a lot of people say with the revocable, let's look at the concept like revocable. Revocable trust is a grantor's trust. I created, I got the control. I don't even need an EIN because it's still taxed to me because it's me that got the control. That's like a grantor's trust. A non-grantor's trust is in the category of like, I gave up the control. I'm not the grantor that has retained control and power. I've given up the retain the control and power. I gave up that power. Now, guess what? The assets are trust owned. They're not under my control. It's under the control of the trust. That's why every time I share with you guys, whether if it's on live, a webinar, what have you, I always say, when you go into these establishments, make sure you say what the trust owns 100%. You don't want to get caught up in BOI reports and say, oh, you got to be 25% the owner. That's not what your instructions are intended for. You don't want to have a trust and you got assets over here and you still got assets in your name. The trust owns everything. Everybody want to have this cool saying, own nothing, control everything, but you don't want to have a grantor's trust and you talking about own nothing, control everything. No, you still control everything and you still own it. So when you hear people say, well, how you don't own nothing, you still control everything. You could control everything based on what is written down in the instructions of the trust and the clauses that will allow the people that you put in place, making sure you select the people. All right. And this is what also various specialized trusts, when you look at, okay, I have a special needs child, or I have someone that is a disabled veteran, or I have someone that is receiving government assistance, government funding. Y'all was laughing when I was saying that there are individuals that are wealthy and still qualify for food stamps. So y'all thought I was just, trolling. What I was stating was there are individuals that maybe have a special need that don't mean you're not able to comprehend having a trust. You may still receive some type of benefits within your state requirements or state provisions, right? That will prevent you to own anything, or maybe some states start with $2,000, $1,500, $2,500 total within your name of ownership. So you have to give up those ownership. You have to give up those things. What if you have a special needs child, right, that still needs Medicare, like around the clock care? Maybe they're in a facility. Maybe they need to go to physical therapy. Maybe they need to be, properly taken care of, right? If you're saying, if I go and I pass away, I left instructions where this person is going to be the provider, where the trust can be the provider. If they need to make sure a payment is made for a certain type of activity, facility, the trust can make that payment, but you need a trustee that's going to sign off on your intentions of making sure that child is provided for. Let me know y'all picking up what I'm dropping. Okay. There's different types of, again, specialized trusts. Okay. We talked about dynasty trust, right? When you're talking about things where I want it to be perpetual, I want this to continue this, I want this to outlive me past 100 years, 99 years, right? There are strategic structures and there are clauses to state that in my demise, in my passing, I'm going to pass it on over to the next. This is what we call the analogy of passing the baton. I'm going to pass the role to the successor trustee. But if it's a natural person and that person may pass away, do you have another individual that's going to have power and control? Or would you pass on that role to another trust? Or would you pass it on over to an entity? Y'all was tripping when I said you could put a corporation as a successor trustee. What do you think the attorney's office is? A corporation. If you hire a law firm, let's just say if you hired a law firm and this particular attorney is speaking on your behalf and helping and operating on behalf of the trust, that is an individual as well. That person may pass away. Not to be killing off no attorney, but you get what I'm saying, right? So this individual that's acting in the form of the capacity to do a duty may pass away, but guess what? They may have other attorneys that can now step in because you hired their firm. Now let's put it into your family office. Let's turn this into your family dynasty, your family business. See, we want to talk about the waterfall method. We want to talk about the Rockefellers, and we want to talk about um, I do want to say the Vanderbilts, but we do want to talk about the Rothschilds and all that, right? But we never looking at the core concept as they structured a lot of things through entities and policies and business structures. So now you say, oh, now I get why Layla Lockwood turned into a corporation. Because in her physical body and her demise, years and years and years down, I ain't ready, I ain't ready, I ain't ready, right? Years and years and years down the line, the corporation can still stay active. And then what happens is family members can be managers of this entity that can now sign and now speak on behalf of the trustee that is the entity. So how would that look? Layla Lockwood LLC, comma, trustee. The entity, the corporation, okay, because we want to make sure that we understand it's not like a sole proprietor. You can be, right? You can be a 1099 contractor that is operating and acting on behalf of this position. You can sign on behalf. See, if we know that we're not operating in our natural capacity and we're operating in a legal capacity, right? Then we realize that let's turn ourselves into a business. Let's become a DBA, right? And then have a signatorial role that is separated from our natural capacity. I am dropping jewels. Let me know. Are y'all picking it up? Drop a fire in the chat. My glasses getting foggy. Drop a fire in the chat because I need you guys to get this. I don't know who's going to break this down for you and share with you and tell you when it comes to the trustees' responsibilities. I'm here. The trustees' responsibilities is to make sure that they never take it personal. So when y'all walking into the bank, you have to have that confidence. Don't let nobody take away your power. Okay? Don't let nobody take away your power, your role, if it's already written in the Declaration of Trust. So now you have a certificate of trust. This is how you're going to start funding the trust. You need a document to transfer the asset into the trust. We like to call the certificate of trust, and some of you guys are watching and tuning in from multiple different states. So you may see trustee deed, you may see abstract trust, you may see memorandum of trust, okay? Different state provisions. So I know that I'm talking to a lot of different states here, but please pick up where I'm dropping and put your state there. Okay. Now, the trustee's responsibility is to act. Please, I need y'all to pick that up. Not going in there and say, yeah, our family, we did this, we set up the trust. Bankers and third-party financial institutions are trained to do small talk. So you can compromise the power of this document. When you start speaking I, and my, you compromise the integrity of this transaction. It's not about you. It's about the trust. This is why you want to name the trust a certain name. The trust is opening a bank account today. Start speaking it with authority. I'm just here to open this account for this particular trust. All right. Also, too, when it comes to understanding mandatory versus discretionary distributions, we are thinking that when we create this trust, when the person that set up the trust, when they pass away, they automatically got to dump everything out the trust. You don't have to have it mandatory. See, a lot of legal or individuals are looking at templates, or they have these documents that is, I want to say, take it or leave it type of documents, or it's just like basic structure until you start making it your own and express the type of trust that is needed for your family. So if you know there's not going to be a mandatory distribution when you die, you need to have that in writing. Oh yeah, upon the demise of the grantor, the one who creates the trust, the next process is to be handed over to either a sub-trust, another trust. The successor trustee has the power to now add another trustee, add another successor trustee, remove a trustee if somebody was to pass away, somebody was to step down or become incapacitated. These are the discretionaries of stating that this is going to be either distributed, or how about this? It's going to be deferred and held in the trust, and that the trustee is going to now pay these things and keep the asset titled in the name of the trust. That makes sense? So if you had a life insurance policy that is paid into the trust, this is why individuals started putting the trust as the beneficiary. My children are listed inside the trust, or my family members are listed inside the trust as successor trustees. These trustees has the power to facilitate who's getting paid. How are things going to get paid? If you have to put that child through college, if you have to pay for that wedding, buy another property, invest in business. Hey, we love to invest in digital currency. Continue to operate and run the businesses, invest into cryptocurrency or stock market. How can we do these things if we don't have an entity that outlive people, natural people? This is why I had to turn off that mindset and that thinking of individual. We have a limitation on our lives and we have an expiration. That is the dash between sunrise and sunset. So that dash, what you can do is, because it's going to always be there, what you do in your lifetime is the dash. What you do in your lifetime. You are today, as you're on this webinar right now, you are still writing out your obituary, no matter what. So the concept is to understand the research of how your state laws affect your trust creation and the administration and the taxation. Okay. If you remove the asset out of your name, it's not being taxed to you. A lot of us is like, oh, we never pay taxes. You will if it's still taxed to you. But if you gave up the ownership and now the trust has a separate tax, you have a separate tax, but your tax could be now minimized because you don't own these things, where you're getting heavily taxed on the things that you owned. Right? I want you to write this in your note. The goal and the core concept is to leave empty. That means reach your height is your aspiration of the things that you believe in, your thinking. That's why they say the grave is the most expensive. And because people are dying with $1 billion, $1 million ideas. And also, when they say rolling in that grave, they know they didn't take them things out their name. Okay. The taxation laws and also state, this is also going to be based on your state. So please check your state provisions. The way you can find that is you can literally Google. Okay, you can Google, put a blank, put your state. So I'm gonna put North Carolina state provision, and you can put trust code. So if you want to put irrevocable trust code, find your trust code and let's do this exercise. Put it in the chat. So that means you got the log off, but if you have another device, type in your irrevocable trust provision code. Why I'm going to get this to you is because I want you to understand it. I want you to understand that now when you're creating this trust document, what is going to be valuable to understand how I can use it within this state. I'm going to help you if you also relocate as well. Let me know y'all putting it in the chat. Y'all picking up what I'm dropping. Okay. Please put your, let's say, state of New York. You want to put state of Virginia, Georgia State, trust provision code. Why do we want that code? We want to know, can this trust hold the assets that we have within the state? Now, for someone that says, I have assets in multiple states, okay? I have land over here in this state. I have a business over here in this state. I have bank accounts in multiple different states. And you may have structured your trust and I will say your registered trust state. Whatever the date you registered the trust, you registered in one state, the date that you registered it, okay? That's not going to ever change. That is the date of birth, okay, of that person, but it is a non-human person. That person has his own business address. That person has his own 9-digit identification number. We have a 9-digit identification number, and so does the trust. The business has its own 9-digit identification number. So who are we identifying? Okay. Who is doing business? Understanding real value. Some of y'all keep saying, I can't afford it, but then you know that you have some things that are deemed valuable to you. And when you know that it's not expensive to you. So the common misconceptions versus that reality of value. How valuable is this trust? Of course, the knowledge is number one, right? I always say your mind is your most capital asset, because you have to know doing this is the reason why we don't leave our next generation starting from scratch. Do you not understand a life insurance policy can now have that next generation become an instant millionaire? If you have multiple policies within your family, you understand in the structure of a family office, and you understand that the trust is going to own the policy, right? We're going to have individuals that are insured, the natural person, they're going to be insured. And as we're moving and operating, we're going to have multiple successor trustees that's going to keep the bookkeeping and document. Every relative in your family should have a policy that is on them, but the trust should be the owner. How does that look? The trust can be the trust can be the beneficiary. The income is being dumped into the trust, and the trustees is taking care of the family. You ever see somebody say, "Oh, I'm a trust fund baby. I'm a trust fund kid," right? I'm a trust fund baby. You know what's happening? The trust is providing for them. All right. So understand that value. It says what your trust actually does, protection that works. You are creating a trust that is a barrier. What do that mean? That trust is a barrier. What is the most valuable to society, to the United States and the United States of America? Your estate. Remember, your state controls the estate. This is what probate does. If probate is public, it is controlled by their judicial employees or their judicial services, excuse me. But if you had a trust that protected the estate, we can avoid abandoned properties. We can now have successor trustees that's going to now facilitate how the estate will be handled. They're not just finding it through your relatives. We tell them where to find us. Remember, my background was in collections. I was easily able to skip trace you from you posting your spouse on update your status on Facebook, from you writing in your obituary. We leave behind, and you write a slew of your family members, and you put their name in there. Once you put their name in there, I'm able to go ahead and skip trace and find you, find your public record, find your public house, find out where you're located. A lot of us are scared to lose our IDs, but then we don't realize we're already public record everywhere we look. So what's the point of just really hanging on to that driver's license, right? This is why a lot of us carry passports, because it don't have a residential address listed on there. You're moving with a private federal document, right? So now we understand that if these misconceptions overseed our fear, we will be in a lot different positions by saying, what am I fearing? The concept is to write out what I want to leave behind and who's going to be able to receive it and control it when I'm gone. If you know credit card companies, they know that they're going to get it back in blood. Okay, hello, they're going to get it. They're going to sue the estate. You know, the rehabilitation center, the hospital, hospice, all of these different companies are going to sue the estate. What are they suing if we already removed it out of our name? What are you getting? So the estate does not become valuable if we created a barrier over the estate by removing what is wealthy. Y'all picking up what I'm dropping. Y'all going crazy. I want y'all to know that. Okay. So that's why, okay, the wills are public. They're court controlled. The point of the probate, it's first of all, they're honoring the debts first. So even if you say, no, I had my auntie and them, they had a will and it went through probate and we still got the house, we still got some assets. That means they had more assets than they did debt. So we have insolvent, okay? Now, if it's insolvent, which means if you have an insufficient estate, or if you had more debt than you did assets, they're going to take everything. But if you had more wealth than you had debt, then that's what happens, okay? Am I going over time? I have only a little bit of time, so I won't be able to go over everything. Tamika, you give me the green light if you want me to keep going. But I do want people to understand this. Your foundation is everything. Your foundation is everything. The way you protect your estate. I know y'all like, what? Why would you protect the estate when debt is in the estate? No. I may have said it, and I will publicly apologize. I stated that a lot of companies go to the estate to pay off the debts. What people are looking for, or companies are looking for, is wealth in the estate, and they sue that to get paid. They try to go after your family members, but that is a spokesperson, that is a representative of the decedent. Okay, I told you in the beginning of this call, maybe it wasn't on the recorded line, I am a successor trustee of my father's, he passed away. He is considered a decedent's estate. What do that mean? I can't just go around operating as his social security number. That would be identity theft. So they need a representative which in this particular case, and I'll tell you a little bit about the story of, my father in the state and his estranged wife. In the state of Pennsylvania, which is a Commonwealth state, his wife supersede my role as a daughter, okay? But she did not supersede my power and position as a successor trustee. So whatever he left outside the trust, okay, we fought for the pour over will to pour over those things into the trust. What happened, I did not know this. I had to, we got cut off. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. It's going to take a couple of seconds. So for those that are on YouTube, we got cut off on the other webinar, but listen, let me know, okay, are you guys picking up what I'm dropping? Are you really grabbing and understanding the core concept? Drop a 1 in the chat. Let's see a webinar Jen give up. But right now, as we being live on YouTube, drop a 1 in the chat if you truly understanding the core concept. Ooh, y'all coming in hot. Okay. I got a little glimpse that cut off. So I do want to finalize this part. All right, I got a couple minutes. All right. So, all right, I see the ones that's in the chat. So your foundation is everything. So for those that are hesitant, you're on the fence and you're stating, I'm not going to set up the trust until I get an asset. You're not thinking properly. You want to have a trust structure now. Okay. So when you are getting these things, you are amassing these things, guess what you can do? Immediately transfer it into the trust name. When someone says, well, what if I want to buy in a trust name? You can do those things as well, but you want to make sure, do you have the right type of trust? This structure is separating you. Yes, you can have it for multiple different things. You see things like a REIT, a real estate investment trust. You see these different things like, oh, I seen a pool trust. I seen trust that is for bankruptcies. You may have different reasons why you would want to trust, but you need to know the core value and the foundation as to public and private. Okay. If it's public, it's still connected to you personally. And that public record is connected to your estate that is controlled by your state, the estate. Okay. The ESTATE. Okay. I was about to say RESPECT. Okay. Right. So you want to make sure that, oh, I get it. So even though I was born in the state and I relocated to the state and I'm married and I got a marital estate, I got a separate estate, I got a birth estate, all of these different things will track and trace who you are, how you're operating, who you're connected to, until you create and express your own intentions. There is something called a constructive trust, right? There's a trust that already exists and we don't have any control. Some of us have no knowledge. But when you express and you say, you know what, I'm going to create my own, I'm going to create its own private identity, I'm going to create it and make sure it's connected to its own EIN. I'm going to take this document, which is the certificate of trust. I like to call it the trust ID card, because you don't expose the declaration of trust. You want to use the certificate, the shorter version, that's going to prove the power and the roles of who gets to have that control, right? And then it's going to operate as long as you fund it, right? And sign on behalf. Act in the duty that is best for everyone involved in this trust. If it started with you and you know that this is something that you're doing to sit aside, that if and when I leave here, that my family will be taken care of, they will be left with the information, and they'll be left where they don't have to start from scratch. Whether if it starts with one life insurance policy, whether if someone is blessed enough to have more value that has been transferred, that has been retitled, that is 100% owned by these assets that has been put in a trust. Some of you may say, I don't know how to even fund the trust. Give up the ownership. If you got to go to the DMV, say, I don't want to own this car. Okay. I know I started with that because a lot of people are hesitant with that, but you can say, I want to give up ownership. That means you have to go to the DMV, get a new title of ownership and take it out of your name and put it in the trust name. And you sign as trustee that is now going to operate on behalf, right? You want to update the insurance policy. The car insurance, right? You want to update the insurance. Now, when those say, I want to add a driver, if you want to have a rental agreement, because some people don't think like that. If you want to have a rental agreement and say, well, the trust will rent this vehicle to my family member, draw up a rental agreement, just like rental car companies, okay? You're responsible at the time that you're driving, not the company that rented to you. So think about those things. Start thinking like a business. We already exchange ourselves, our information. The bank buy the house for us. Okay, well, the bank purchased the house at 100% full. They gave you a house really 100% paid for. You gave them the securities to now be tied to that debt, but they left you as the owner of this property. So on the document, if you're listed as owner, give up the ownership. Don't own the property. You may still be the debtor that has to pay back the mortgage, but give up the ownership of this house. And there is a clause, St. Garn Germain Act. My brain go fast, so I get tongue twisted. Sorry. The Garn St. Germain Act. Sorry, the Garn St. Germain Act, 1982. Okay. That is a clause to also protect your activity of doing this transaction, right? You give up ownership. You go down to the recorder of deeds where the property is located. If you have a property in Georgia, you got a property in, Florida, you got a property in Virginia, you got a property in California, and you still have that one trust, you can go to each county record and put this said trust. Let's say the other trust is in North Carolina. This North Carolina trust can go to Virginia, Georgia, New York, and California, and put it on the record and say this trust will own all of these assets, because each state is foreign to one another. That means each probate will be foreign to one another. So you don't want to leave these assets out because it's different states. Some of y'all think y'all got to run out here and get 9 different state trusts. Remember, the EIN is federal. It's the identification of this. And there's something called a governed law statute that's going to protect us, govern within the entire trust law. So yes, you can have trustees that's going to operate the facilitation, have them have the address within the state to facilitate, because they're all state laws that will prevent you from opening up something or filling out documentations. You have to have an ID. Passports is also useful. That's why people have passports, to use the ID to transfer. So go to those state county clerk, or state or county clerk office to transfer the asset. Go directly there. Fill out a quit claim deed. You want to damn, I'm so tongue twisted. Y'all get what I'm saying? Shit. Okay. You want to quit claiming the asset. Okay. Depending on the type of asset, if it's an investment property, then it's like a warranty deed. You want to make sure you understand these things, but you want to have that document to say, I, the grantor that owned this property, are now giving it up and grantee it over to the trust. That is how you're transferring that property. Okay. The bank account, you may own a bank account, right? Yes, you want to definitely vet these type of accounts, because if you call them and say, hey, what do I need to bring? That minimizes you sitting in the bank for multiple hours. Who's doing that? Who's wasting time? No, if this is even a bank that you want to even bank with, okay? You go to the bank. You want to take your name off the account as the account holder or the account ledger as owner, okay? You want to quit claiming that as owner. So you need a new signature card. If you know you opened this account and you never signed as trustee, you know already you need to change it and update it. You need to take your name off of there. Your debit card should not even say your name. It should say your name as trustee, or it should say the trust name if you have a check card. I don't have a checking account with the trust. That's up to y'all. I don't. Okay. It's only under savings. Okay. That's up to you guys if you want to have a check card. It's not something that is frequently, used at like casually used. And we do it for discipline. If we have to deposit it, we got to make sure we go in the bank and deposit it. They'll be like, hey, Layla, mind you, I don't own nothing at that bank. I'm acting on behalf of the owner, which is the trust. That document says so. The certificate of trust proved, okay, that I am not the owner. I'm just a signer. That is my title. You're not going to take that from me. You guys let them take that power from you because you don't understand. You feel like they're telling you what to do. Let the documents do the talking. And now if they're asking questions, always ask, how would that be used? Can I see something in writing? Please hand me over something so you can keep your power, because when we walk into the bank, they already stripping our power. All right. Tamika, how are we looking on time? That was my whole thing. I just want you guys to understand the core concept of trust. I want you to understand what you're doing. Why does it take a lot for you to like understand the core concept, the body of it, the foundation of it? Yes, there's a lot of information that we could go and break down into its totality. But again, this is a family meeting. This is helping you understanding more of what you're doing, some of the mistakes that people make, and some of the misconceptions that people do not understand. Thank you for watching. You could take it away, Path to Freedom. I went a little bit over time. I'm putting- I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, loud and clear. Yes, I can. The comments are off. You want me to turn them on? Oh, I got to refresh. I'm sorry. Okay, comments there. I see. I see everyone. Yes, we can hear. Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. Yes. Can you hear me? All right. For you guys that are not, I'm getting ready to get off because you guys that are not, I'm getting ready to get off because you guys that are, I can't do that. Okay, for you guys that are not in the webinar, I just put it in the comment section because I'm going to end this live because now I'm going to be a student over there. That was just my segment. I went live. So please, I put it in the comment. I put it in the section. So let me know if you got the link. So can y'all hear me? So, hmm. Yes. It's just it would not be valid. It's invalid that if you don't even. Yeah. The ChatGPT trust. Oh, I could see if I do a demo, it's gonna be, I don't know if it's gonna be able to show on YouTube or Webinar Jam. So so let me know. Okay, so let me know if you can see my screen. What do you see? Google or no? You can see my Google? Oh, okay. So I don't know how to like share my screen and then do Google because it's not in like the presentation slide. I would love to do it because I think that a lot of people are like, is my chat GPT trust valuable or worthy? And I'm like, oh, you can use chat GPT too. But the core thing is, do you understand what chat GPT is even saying? I know, but I was trying to just straight show you guys a live demo from Google. Maybe let me do it and maybe you guys write down the prompts or write down if y'all can't see it live. Let me see if I can do it on YouTube. Hold on, because I didn't end my YouTube. Can I see share? Share my screen. Now I could do it on YouTube. You want me to do it on YouTube? Okay, hold on. Hold on, y'all. All right. So real quick, y'all, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try this exercise because let me tell y'all, I don't use the chat GPT for legal documents, but I do know this. A lot of shade from other legal counsels was saying, oh, your chat GPT trust and all these different things. But I want you guys to see how I'm able to pull it and add the clauses and add certain things in there. Okay. So I'm on YouTube. The webinar is full. So hold on. I never did it this way. Oh, wait, y'all look. Oh, wait, we in here. We in here. Let me know if y'all can see both, please. For those that's on YouTube, we can see both. Oh my God, that's so perfect. Okay, wait, let me figure out how to. I don't think I can share no more though. Hold on. Wait, hold on. We getting close. A new tab. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Y'all can see. Y'all now. Y'all can see my Google. No, I got so excited. Okay, hold on. Oh, y'all can. Oh, wait. We getting up here. We get wait. I'm so excited right now. Okay. Oh, but how am I able to? Damn. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Just stay. Bear with me. I'm getting closer and closer. Now, forgive me because my kids be playing on this stuff. So I don't know. I'm just gonna pick a. I'm just gonna pick a prompt. Okay. Now, we got ChatGPT open. I'm gonna open another screen, and let's make this more fun. Let's pick a state. The first state, I'm gonna do two examples. I'm gonna do two examples. So pick a state real quick. Texas, that's the first one I seen, and y'all see it with me. Texas, and we're gonna do one more state. Texas and Indiana. Perfect. That's it, y'all. Texas and Indiana. Now, I'm gonna do another screen just so I can pull up Texas. Oh, sorry, y'all. These keys on here, and we're gonna do for irrevocable trust, okay? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's chapter 111. All right, so here's where we see, right? Let me know y'all following so far. Now, I'm gonna pull up the Title 9. I'm gonna just highlight this. I'm gonna just highlight this, right? I'm gonna just highlight this. I'm gonna copy. I'm gonna paste it in Chat GPT, right? And now I'm gonna break down using Texas Trust provision code. Okay. Oh, hold on. If I could, hold on. Remember, I did not say you had to be a legal expert. Right. I'm just using just something really quickly. Right. Mind you, I'm not logged into anything. Look at this. I'm not logged into anything, y'all. Y'all know this is like free. This is a structure of a full trust. Now, here's the part where people are not understanding, because it breaks down the outline. When you customize it and make it your own, these are just the instructions, right? When you're customizing, you want to take these codes and understand it. This is declaring the body of the trust. Hold on, excuse me, I'm sorry. This declares the body of the trust. This also declaring how it's going to act in the trust, like in the state statute. Now, if I was to do a free irrevocable trust, let's say template, I'm going to just put in template. All right, hold on, y'all, because I got this mouse is, I mean, not this mouse, this keyboard is sticky. If I was to grab a document, let's just pull one up. I'm just going by this. I don't really like the verbiage on that one. Sorry. It's so basic. I'm sorry. Maybe you're probably trying to think, what are we looking for? What I'm looking for is the articles in the trust. So there's like Article 1, Article 2. So you might see certain things. I'm not probably able to pull a free template, but some of you guys may pay for a template. You may, oh, here we go. This is what I'm looking for, right? So this is what I'm looking for. Bam. This is what I'm looking for. Something like this, right? I'm going to highlight this. We're going to use this same one. All right. Everything. We're going to pull everything. All right. We're going to stop right there. I'm going to copy. I'm going to go back to my chat. And I'm going to use that same prompt, and I want to break down the full articles using that trust. I'm going to put it at the bottom of this, and I'm going to add it, and I'm going to put it in the system. Oh, I should have put in there without asking legal advice. Like, this is not legal advice, but it'll help you get a full understanding of the trust provision code so you can look into it. And from this, you will customize it, of course, and also put like who will have power and control, who will be the successor trustee. If this is something that you don't agree to, you can kind of take some of this stuff out. Remember, I even mentioned about subtrust, all these different things. Let me know in the chat, are you picking up what I'm dropping?
Can you go to where the notary signature will go for me, please?
Yes. Oh, in chat, yes.
Well, on this trust document, just wherever the notary part is.
Okay, yes. So, oh wait, I'm sorry. This one, yes, here.
Oh, stop right there. Wait.
Wait.
Before you go, stop right there. So y'all see where where it says private trust, no court supervision? You absolutely want to have a private trust too, but we'll get there. But yeah, can you go to the notary box for me?
Say it again.
The notary box. Is it on here?
Yes. Can y'all see it on my end?
No, you had row 8 on my end. I don't see the notary
I'm still on chat?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
Did it put the part on there where the notary needs to sign?
Yeah, but I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it now?
No. Hold on.
Let's see if it's already in chat. Let me scroll down. Like it maybe came up in the chat, in the chat GPT, all the way at the bottom.
Yeah, it went down somewhere, but yeah, I don't see the part. Just make sure anytime you guys are getting anything notarized, the notary part needs to be in a box for the 4-corner rule. It also needs to say jurant, not just a notary acknowledgement. Okay, it needs to be a JURAT, and it needs to be in a box because of the 4-corner rule.
Do you want me to
Okay.
show the other state, Indiana, or do you guys get the concept?
They should get the concept from there.
Right. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I say all this to say, right, I hear the sayings like, oh, why you pay somebody to do this and why you want to learn so much. If anybody that's my trustees, if anybody understand the trusteeship enrichment program, even a one-on-one, I never just show you, like teaching you document. I want you to understand what to do with it. That is the important part, is showing you what to do with the document, because ChatGPT can do all this, and somebody in the comment like, this is beautiful. I ain't got to worry about putting it together and figuring this out, right? This could be accepted within the state of Texas. It could be accepted within the county court records and all these different things. But if you don't know how to make sure that your signatures, right, your trustees that's in the power and the roles and position, how you could take that already well put together state provision trust document into the bank, and you understand, like, you're not taking that actual document. Remember, we still got the certificate of trust. This is why people like to still come to us, get some type of consultation, a coaching session, because they're understanding why, what they're doing, and how to keep the value and the wealth inside the trust document. The reason why I wanted to show that and how it's so easy and simple to put a legal type of trust. And again, that is not a trust document. This is not legal advice. This is not constituted as, I'm just giving you an example, right? Okay, and it follows along. And I did drop that, which I sent in the comment. I did show you guys on www.deeds.com how to put together a certificate of trust. That is a template that is already put together, but you have to customize it. When you start thinking that, wait a minute, my family is not going to have the same intentions of the next family that's watching this video, that means you have to be intentional about your legacy. Go ahead, Tamika. I'm sorry, I get carried away. I'm too passionate.
No, you're okay. You're okay. So the idea is, y'all, you need a trust. Point blank, period. You have to have a trust in order to be able to properly move within the system. It is absolutely important. It is the first step. It is the first step on being able to do anything within this system. I don't know what else to tell you, because if it's not the first step, what you're going to find yourself doing is, can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. What you're going to find yourself doing is going into a repetitive cycle, like a hamster on a wheel. And you're going to have to keep starting over and starting over and starting over. And we don't want to do that, right? So that's why I have her here, because we are in a new system. It is an amazing time to be alive. I keep trying to tell y'all that, right? But you have to set yourself up properly. Well, just sit back and think about what I'm about to say. Just say you get your bills in the mail every 21 days. Y'all see them numbers. Every 21 days. That if you were set up properly, instead of saying, man, I got to do 20 more minutes at work, or I got to pick up some more days at work, or I got to do some more Uber, some more dashing, where you can go sit in your bed, at your table, wherever, and log into a system where you can immediately send over that coupon that you just received. And you do it every 21 days, because when you do it on your end, it automatically, okay, balance on their end. So now you got all your tangible money to yourself. You have sat down and did what needed to be done, right? Every 21 days. But then every 90 days, you will be able to file on it, right? I've told y'all before, taxes is every 90 days. You can actually file it at every 90 days, but every month, which is every 21 days, at that you're able to set it off and balance the books. That is what the point of this is. And in order for you to be able to do that, you will have to have a trust. No point about it. So get your trust. Point blank, period. Get your trust. You need it. Whether you go on ChatGPT and get it, where you go somewhere and get a trust. Okay. And you want an irrevocable trust. I always say get a revocable one too. There may be some things you want to move, right? So I have the revocable, the irrevocable, and then I have a private trust. I asked y'all on my page, um, do you know the difference in a public and a private trust? Everybody said irrevocable. No, irrevocable is a title. There's just certain stipulations that you have to have in place when you have a irrevocable trust, right? It's that's the only difference. It's irrevocable. Layla, can you mute your mic for me? And then you have the irrevocable and irrevocable. But more importantly, it's a grantor's trust. It's a grand. And I've learned that people don't value free. All I know is that there is a disconnect because you guys do not understand. And as I've stated, you can overstand until you understand. How you gonna immediately over? That's like a baby just coming out the womb and standing up. Don't they have to understand what their legs and their feet can do and what the purpose of it is? So then that one day they start from crawling and then they get up and walk. This is how life is. I know people have the misconception of, oh, somebody told me all my bills are prepaid and I don't have to do anything. It don't work like that. You are in the game of life and you are playing with Monopoly. Master it. I keep telling you guys, learn your position, then play your position. And we have the highest position in this game, despite the fact it doesn't look like it. But we do. We have the supreme role in this game of life. So, in order for you to set yourself up properly, in order for you to walk in your abundance, and then give it to the generations below us, if you have to get set up right. It's not the fact, oh, I got a light bill, oh, I got a gas bill, oh, I got a water bill, oh, I got all of these bills. And but they're all one thing. There is a dividend and there are a security that you are supposed to be cashing in, that you are freely giving away. And then you're scared to take what belongs to you back from these people that you don't even see. I don't know how the hell y'all scared of these people. But at some point in time, you're going to have to let go of the fear and you're going to have to walk in your calling. And either you're going to do it or you're not. But if you're not really going to do it, you wasting your time and so many other things, a destruction that you could be doing, because that's all it's going to lead to is destruction. All right. So as y'all know, the name of this is do you understand? Because I need to know if you understand. So when I say it's two sides to the system, it's the public and the private. It's the government owned, controlled, regulated. Then you got private, which was God given, self governed, lawful. Freedom that lives in the private control, but you control it in the public. It's no different than later saying, oh, nothing, control everything, right? This is important. Can y'all see my slides? Oh, wait a minute. I can't even see y'all. Hold on. I just want to make sure y'all can see them. Layla, can y'all see my slides?
Yes.
Y'all always been able to see them? Or did they just pop up? Webinar screen froze. It's not froze. It's not froze. Oh, that was way at the top. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure y'all can see it. So, in order to set yourself up where you do not have to keep asking these people for permission, set yourself up. If you are going to be in the public, driver's license. I even heard Layla talking about that. Do you notice that only on the driver's license you have your address, on the passport you do not? So if you really want to be in the private, you're going to have to get it. Because remember, there's two sides to the system. First natural, then spiritual. The Bible even talks about that. And in order for you to balance this life, you're going to have to balance the public and the private, right? The only way you want to be in public, is as a trustee. You don't want to be in private as you, because that's how everybody can find all your information, because you're in the public setting. Okay. So that's the reason that you want to get a passport. Absolutely the reason that you want to get a passport and get out of commercial activities. And the passport declares you're not property of the corporation. Get your passport. Nobody on my following me should have a driver's license. And I'm telling you now, if you got a driver's license, unfollow me. You know, I'm so serious. Because you say you want freedom, but you steady holding on to what belongs to them. So we're not going to do that. So the first step of the public side, we're going to do both sides. First natural, then spiritual. Publicly, get rid of your driver's license. P.O. box. It doesn't matter that the passport are always going to be in all capital letters. And I see y'all keep saying that y'all get so caught up on the capital letter and the lowercase letter, anything, because it's still a part of their system, but it's two sides to the system. You got the state driver's license, where the state now telling you what to do, or you got the federal protections via your passport. And you can travel land, sea, air, international. Right now, if you don't have a passport, you're not getting on a plane going to Mexico without no passport. Okay, you do it with a birth certificate, you can, but they're going to take you through a whole lot. But I ain't going to tell you, know what I'm saying? That's up to y'all, right? You have to choose what side of the system. Are you going to be hot or cold or lukewarm? And if you lukewarm and you straddling in the fence, you're never, ever, ever going to get to the level that you want. And you're going to be forever fighting. And you don't have to, right? You don't have to. So get rid of the driver's license. I told y'all before, when you do your UCC1, your birth certificate number, your driver's license number, and all of that should have a lien on there, right? Okay. Go get your passport. We still on the public side, y'all. Stay with me. Lord have mercy. The next thing, while I figure out why my thing is froze, a P.O. box. You have to get a P.O. box so that you can exit the federal zone. We all know that zip codes are tied to them. So, P.O. Box. Your street address is giving them jurisdiction to say that you belong to them. You want to get a P.O. Box, non-domestic, get a P.O. Box. I've told y'all what the power in the P.O. Box is. It is a lockbox to lockbox funding, and it also keeps you in the private. You can't say I'm not a part of the system, but you're still you and using their shit. It don't work that way, right? So get you a P.O. Box, please. Public side. Now that's how you like remove yourself from your state system and your state jurisdiction. Okay, passport and PO box. Start there. So as of right now, you should be having a trust, a passport, a PO box. When you get your passport, then you give back the driver's license. Do not let them tell you that you can't. There is a form for that. And then make sure you send an email to the head of the DMV in your state, telling them to remove you out of the auto theft system. They have to do it. I put up a post today that shows somebody in Texas did it. And if you in Texas, the man name who you send the email to, if you look it up, Kennedy, it will show you that he's at the head. And you send them an email because you have the right to say which system you want to be in. Okay? And you don't want to be in that one. So you're going to get your P.O. box. So you got your trust, you got your passport, you got your P.O. box. Next thing, let's hit to the private side. All right. When I first came back after being gone for 8 months, I made a free guide that has been in the link in my bio on how you set yourself up with ID.me. I think you might want to do it. Because the only way that you can properly, well, it's not the only way, right? But this is the season of cutting out the middleman. So instead of going on 1099online.com, you can do it straight through your ID.me portal. And you cut out the middleman and you just saved yourself 9.5 days. If you've ever done 1099online.com and any of those, you know it take about 10 days for them to come back and say, hey, the IRS accepted. But the IRS itself said, why don't you come to us? We're cutting out the middleman. Like with your driver's license, you had the state in the middle. No, remove them. Right? So get your ID.me set up. You absolutely positively need it. You need your ID.me set up. Okay? As you see, is the federal authentication gateway to both public and private system. It verifies your identity. Guess why ID.me is there? To make sure that the bad actors, aka the banks and all these corporations who has pretending to be you, y'all be like, I don't want to get on my biometrics. Give it to them. You get me personally. When you do the ID.me, instead of doing the ID or the passport, tell them you want to do a video call. A literal agent is going to be looking at you and you're going to be looking at him and y'all going to be looking at each other. And he's going to verify that that's you. They're trying to stop the bad actors. Okay. Now, the ID.me is what you want to get set up with, but the digital ID is what you don't. You see the two sides of the system, right? So they got everybody scared of the digital ID, and then as soon as you hear ID.me it's going digital. Now you think it's the same thing. It is not. I wouldn't get a digital ID if my life depended on it, but guess what I do got? Access to ID.motherfucking me. Okay, ID.me. That's gonna be your friend. I've been telling y'all for the longest, the IRS is your friend, right? But you have to know how to use the IRS properly. It starts with an ID.me. Get it set up. Go on there and look around. You're going to need it. All right. So now once you got your ID.me set up, now when I tell y'all that I'm giving y'all the game, if y'all don't do it after this, I don't give a damn. I'm not going to really care. I'm not. Right? So you got your trust. You got your passport. Right? Along with the trust, you now have to say who has power over that trust. It is a grantor trust that you are the trustee of, which means you have the power of attorney over, correct? Now, I told you that all of these companies have been acting like us. So if you just go file a tax all willy nilly, they're going to hold your shit up. Why? Because they don't know who you are. Now they think that you're stealing. And ain't that sad? They've been letting these people take our shit all this time. But as soon as you do it, now they want verification. You're getting a letter every 60 days, or you're going to get a payout in 45 to 60. That's not how that works. But they don't know who you are. So how about before you file your very first credit return, is what I'll call it, the IRS needs to know who you are. You know how you do that? Through a 2848, where your trust name is the taxpayer. See, we don't run from taxes. We just know how to do them properly. Because the only way you're going to truly get what belongs to you, make the companies have to pay their taxes while you have a $3.1 billion exemption every year because of old Christ Jesus. Okay. Right. They need to know who you are. So you're going to do a 2848. If you've sent over a tax and didn't have that attached, that's why you ain't got your money, if you ever get it. And I guarantee you, if you ain't filing right, and we ain't talking about no ESs and no vouchers, why do you need to borrow from yourself when you are the currency? Okay. So you got to make sure that you got the 2848. Okay. It's considered the appointed agent to handle all IRS tax matters. Okay. It is very crucial for accessing IRS files, correcting records, and handling audits and claims. Then you're going to make sure that you do a Form 56. You need to let it be known that not only are you the power of attorney, but you are also the fiduciary. Now, your 2848 can be uploaded through your ID.me portal. The 56 has to be mailed in or taken to your nearest IRS location because they need wet ink signature, because now we're talking about fiduciary capacities. Okay. So you got your 2848, you got your 56 turned in. And like I said, it notifies the IRS that the trust or the trustee is assuming fiduciary control over the estate. Okay. So the only way you are going to legally and lawfully control the estate that the state made for you is by okay. But the grantor trust does not protect you. It connects you, in my understanding, is the non-grantor is made by someone other than you, then it's protected. The point of the matter is, if you want to file your taxes and get all of your credits back, it is a grantor's trust. Even when you go onto the IRS for an EIN number, and you say trust, is going to tell you that you are a grantor trust. It is protected because it's in the trust. It's protected because it's in the trust. Even though you're the grantor, it's protected because it's in the trust. And your trust is filled out properly. The point is, you want to be able to file taxes. You can't file taxes on nobody else's. And the difference is, you said that if it's made by someone else than you, why would you want somebody else to make your trust for you? They got y'all so scared of the IRS. Don't be scared of them. You want it to be a grantor living trust. This is why you get an EIN number for it, because that's your identifier. And instead of filing taxes up under your social, even if the assets were in the name of the social, you have the right to file the 1041. How many of you guys got a trust and you got that CP 575 number? And it said you are responsible for filing the 1041. That 1041 is how you get your credits back. That 1041 is how you balance the books. It's protected because it's in a trust. Okay. It's irrevocable. It's protected because it's in a trust. And then the private trust that has no EIN number, that trust made under God is the beneficiary of the irrevocable trust. Okay. The name can be whatever you want it to be. Okay, so You're going to need a 2848. You're going to need a 56. Y'all ain't heard me one time say you need a 56F, right? If you read the 56F, it say what financial institution. I know y'all can talk about I'm a bank. If you ain't registered with a security change, you ain't no bank. Ooh. Filling out a 56F actually can and it has put you in the database and now you're dead. And do you know how long it will take to go through the social security and everything to that? I know you guys want to keep talking, but we're dead. You're not dead. You're a business. You're not dead. You're a corporation. You're a business. So act like it. No, you are not supposed to send them a 56F in. Okay. Another thing that the IRS will need is a copy of the certificate of trust so that they can know that they can trust you who's filing these taxes. Okay. So they need that as well. Okay. Okay. So here we go. The reason that you want the irrevocable trust with EIN is the public side, but it's a tax interface. Okay. This is your interface with the IRS and the statutory system. There's no getting out of the system. Learn how to play the game, right? This is how you get your money back. It's a statutory system. It's your formal handshake with the public world that you're handing the trust, the income, the property, and the assets that must touch the system. All of this shit got to touch the system one way or the other. All of it has to touch the system one way or the other. Okay. It has its own EIN, so you won't be using your social. All that I'm on IRS and they want my social. Y'all give y'all social to whoever. And now you're scared to give it to the IRS. Okay. It allows you to open trust bank accounts. You absolutely positively want to open up trust bank accounts because every dollar you get deposited comes back to you with interest. And because you're protected under God we trust, there is no taxes. Y'all be asking, hold on, let me cut the chat off. Because y'all just, oh, how do I cut this off? Because sometimes if y'all just sit and listen, I promise you, the answer that you're looking for is there. Like, I promise you, I'm telling you that. And y'all asking all of these variables. And it's like, did you go read it? Did you attempt to read it for yourself? Right? That's the question. And I understand why the majority of you are no further than much in here because boy, oh boy, oh boy. And I think that is sad. It's very, very sad. It's very sad, but hey, it is what it is. So it's, like I said, you have to be in the public, but you're in the public as to the trust. They do not know that issue. Okay. You can hold your real estate, your business, your income. If you are transferring your house into a trust, it has to be revocable because if it's not, it'll do the sale on due clause on there, and then they'll be coming trying to sell your house. So don't make a mistake and put that in there. Now, can you put it in your private trust? You absolutely can as well. Okay. And so for the people that said, oh, it'll give us an issue, it literally limits your personal liability because it's not you, it's you just controlling it, right? It can hold your liens, your vehicles, your title. I did hear Layla tell y'all how to properly put your car into your trust name because it should be, right? And it is recognized and respected in all the courts. It absolutely positively is. It is protection with structure. But remember, once it's revocable, you can't change it. Can it be changed? It can. The beneficiaries and them have to agree. But if the beneficiaries are your children and they're still here, like, hey, mama want to move this, and all they got to do is say yes, and y'all do the minutes, then it can be moved. So there's always a way around something. But having it irrevocable is absolutely a bigger and better protection for you. Okay. So. When it comes to this trust and the certificate of trust, once it is complete, yes, you will file it down at your county clerk and your probate office. Now, I know some people have said the county clerk wouldn't take it. So let me explain this again. With probate, only thing that is public is a will. Only thing that's public is a will. Okay. If you take a trust and you file it at probate, it's private. No one will just be able to go on their little county website, type your name in, and see your damn trust. It doesn't work that way. Remember, I said there is a public and a private side to the system, right? So if you're dealing in wills, that is public. If you're dealing in trust, it is private. Okay. So you will actually only take your certificate of trust and then make sure that you are on the state guidelines so they won't give you any issues. Look it up for your state and make sure that that notary box on your certificate of trust is in a box and it's a jurat and not an acknowledgement. You will know that you're going to have a jurat when you go to get a notary because they're literally going to make you raise your right hand and you have to attest and do an oath that what's on that piece of paper is right. If you have never done that when you got a notary, all you have is an acknowledgement. A notary with a jurat is in a box. They're going to make you contest to it, which means that everything on that paper is exactly what it says. When it is not in a box, the words on the paper can be up to the interpretation of the person who reading it. Hmm. So anything you get notarized, you have a box, right? If you have that issue, oh, my county clerk won't do it. You have to go and file it in probate first. And then you get a certified copy that it has been filed in probate. Get a certified copy of it. And guess what? When you take it to your county, there will be no issues. Do you know why? Because the county clerk is mandated to file any document that is certified. Tell them put it in miscellaneous. Until y'all get to the point where you know how to turn your birth certificate into an executor deed and then go file that, but y'all ain't even got no trust. So what I'm gonna tell y'all that for, right? Because I ain't. But anyway, so you're going to record your trust at the probate and the county office. This is how you make your claim to the estate. I know y'all like, they got my stuff, and they do. But until you stand up and say, hey, I can take my own shit and I can run with it, how do you think you have to do that? By putting things on the record. Right? Probate is just not for death. It's probate is for, hey, I'm awake and I'm coming to take my shit. Okay. Like I said, it activates your standing as an executor and beneficiary of your birthright. Okay. So filing these forms, recording your trust, reclaiming control from state held contracts. That's it. You're not getting what you want without a trust. Point blank period. Okay, so now once you got your trust, the IRS has your 56, your 2848, and etc. Once again, there is two sides to the IRS system. You have what's called the fire side and the IRS side. The fire system is public, it's commercial, and it's collection based. Not most, tax return preparers, the real ones, not the one that's at home. Like, I'm gonna give you 5,000 back, you give me half. Not them. They use the fire system, which is a public system. FYI, as of 2027, the fire system will no longer be available because y'all literally got to 2027 to get it together. And if you don't get it together now, 2026 gonna be a little rocky. You're gonna be like, oh shit, you better get your house in order now. But in 2027, the fire system will no longer be available. Everyone will have to use the IRS system, excuse me. Or you're going to have to use the IRS approved to do what you need to do with 1099s. You will have to use their suggested tax software. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Did y'all know when y'all doing these 1099s, you've been doing them on paper? Ain't no more paper. And you can't do it on Jackson Hewitt and TurboTax because you can't, right? But if you read the IRS circular, it'll tell you the one company that you can do all those with. Or better yet, that's still dealing with a middleman, right? No, you want to go straight to the man. So the man is IRS. It's a private gateway for redemption, settlement, and true accounting. This is where I say you can go in every 21 days when you get your bills. You can go into IRS, do what you need to do, and settle it off. And then in 90 days, file, and now you got all your money back. Plus the interest, right? You got all of the money that was made off of your security. So that's not just the 79 cents. They go and they pull your whole thing, and then there you go, right? So that's that. But you cannot access the IRS system properly until they have everything on file. Okay. Now, even with your trust, and once you register your trust with the IRS under ID.me, you have to do it based off of your personal account. Because remember, you're the grantor. Okay. So the trust and the 1099A and the B connection. The 1099AB process is your claim to the credits held in your name, point blank, period. Whether it's the name of the trust or it's the all caps name or however you want to call it, right? Y'all be scared of the all caps, and the all caps is what's going to pay you when you know what to do, okay? And it must be done properly through a structured trust. And it's going to say private because all trusts are private to a certain extent, right? Because you're using it on the IRS system. Nobody else will see that but the Internal Revenue Service, not the IRS, because we know the Internal Revenue Service is who? The Treasury. I don't know how I can't cut these comments off, but y'all are aggravating the shit out of my nerves. No, oh, I cut it off. My God. Okay. Because y'all be asking stuff and it be like, why don't you just listen? If you don't know the answer, guess what? Google it. I don't know. Ask ChatGPT. I wish it was a me years ago. Boy. Okay, so in order to do your 1099A and the B and to do it properly, it needs to be done through a structured trust. So you will not be charged the 40% by doing the 1040. 1041, you'll get an all black plus your credits, and then that puts you back up under In God We Trust. Point blank, period. Y'all who out here doing these 1099As, Bs, 123s, and you're not doing them right, and you're like, oh, it's a year later and I still haven't got paid. And now the IRS is asking you all these questions because they don't know who you are. You're not in the system properly. Now they think that you're doing tax evasion and you're not even doing it correctly because you're not set up correctly. There is no shortcuts in this. Mm-hmm. None. And the system has changed. It's a great time to be alive. Okay, it is. It's it's under control. It's under your control, and it's your protection and all that good stuff. So, point blank, period. You're walking between both worlds. You have to understand the public. You have to be set up in the public to actually operate properly in the private. And once you do all of those things, your stress is gone. Your stress is gone. Stop trying to go in the car lot like, oh, they don't know. I'm telling you, they don't know. I talk to GMs. Okay. I have went to the GM because when you need it done right. And I had to explain to him the very first time how I did it for what him to do. And I was like, he was like, huh? I'm like, just do it. And you'll see, I don't want the car. Call me when you see that your payment been done. They have absolutely positively no idea. You have to understand how to use the public and the private to your advantage. Period. They gave you a business that belongs to you, but you haven't went back and gotten it. That's just like now. If your children work and you make investments and stuff for your children, legally it's supposed to go into a trust account until that child is of age to be able to get it. It's the same thing with you. Put yourself on the record properly. It's literally this easy. There you go. A trust, an IRS, an ID.me account, a understanding of how the IRS system works without any shortcuts. They literally tell you, and file properly, and then sit back and get deposits every 90 days. Your bills set off every month. You have claimed what's needed because that private trust, y'all ain't even ready for the private trust because you don't even have the regular trust, right? But that private trust with no EIN attached, when you go put that on the record at probate and the county office, baby, how you think you're gonna get your estate? Who has it? The county. The county ain't gonna give it to you without a what? The court saying, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when you die, go to probate. So when you wake yourself up and you are now alive, guess where it goes? It goes to probate. It goes to probate. So I'm just trying to help y'all. I don't know what else to say. You need to trust. And what's crazy is that before I left from December to the end of February, the 2848, the 56, the how to fill out the passport, well, not the passport, the postal office, um, the PO box application. I literally gave it, and this is how I know y'all don't value free. I even opened up, if not all of them, on YouTube. Now the thing is, some things have changed. But if you have foundation, you'll understand what has changed and how you are supposed to change with it. Because we are in a new season. It is an amazing time to be alive. I am only here to awaken you guys. I am only here to try to give you what I've worked very hard for. And I've been giving it to y'all free. Like, whether it's on my posts, and I can tell, I guarantee you, I'm going to do this too. And I don't do this because times is bad, but let me tell you something. I got 500 rounds. Do y'all hear me? 500. Okay. I'm going to literally show what I got my last quarter. Just I got 500 rounds. Okay. I want y'all to know that. Okay. Thank you. But yeah. And I knew we going to do that, especially now times bad. Motherfuckers broke. Don't play with me. I got 500 rounds. But anyway, and I guarantee you, if I put that up, y'all gonna be all over it. Y'all gonna want to. But when I put up a post like, "Hey, is your trust revocable or irrevocable?" Some people answer, some people don't, because you don't see any value in it. But I'm telling you that the things that you guys are not looking at is where the value at. You need a trust, preferably an irrevocable trust. Yes, you want it to be a grantor's trust because God granted you the right to be debt free. You are committing sin because sin means debt. You are committing sin, allowing these people to keep taking all your money when you got the right to get it yourself. If you just take the time, stop looking at it that it's hard. More importantly, stop being scared of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Why you think I'm joined at the hip with Layla? I'm like, Layla, they need a trust. Maybe you can say something I can't say because that trust is what's going to set you free. I'm trying to y'all just imagine every month you'll be happy as hell when it's time for you to sit down at the computer with all of your coupons, as they call them, and your statements, and you online like, yep. And guess what? DTE, remember your ass cut me off 2 years ago. Now you got to pay the IRS some taxes, right? Because the taxes, everything is taxes, boo, and it's all yours. This is it. This is it. Thank you, Michael Jackson. This is it. They ain't got the SCS no more and wait, and they said no, because you know who they not gonna say no to? The IRS. It automatically settles it. That's the Treasury. The IRS system is the Treasury. That is the Treasury. Because these people are sending 1099s on your behalf saying that you were the recipient of all of these funds. And now the IRS looking at you like you ain't paid nothing. Then that's when you're getting audited. And it's not. Flip the fucking coin, y'all. I'm trying to help y'all. Please. Come on, humanity. Wake up.
And Tamika, I wanted to add in there. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
I remember we was having a conversation about maybe a few weeks ago. And I said that sometimes I don't understand what you're saying, but I understand what you're saying because this is an interesting thing, you guys, how me and her kind of connect is that when I worked in collections, the companies, they wrote it off, the books, and they sold it to us. So they got to credit the company and they sold us, you guys, information of allegedly owing you guys. So when she's saying balance the books yourself because you're not making the claim on it, it makes sense when I was like, wait a minute, we were buying the claim that they wrote off. So that's why I was telling her what she stated is so valuable for me to really understand because I understand it, but from a different side. They sold me, let's just say, you guys' information on a hard drive. I may have bid your information in an auction. It became an asset to our company. It was your debt that was an asset to our company because we were able to collect on it because you didn't know your rights. And this is why you guys have bad debt or credit. Your credit report is reporting negatively because there's only a company that's reporting that you owe them now.
Yeah.
And it's a vicious cycle, but what she's saying is so vital, and it may scare people when you don't understand, but I'm like, I gotta figure this out because it's something that has been done on a corporate side structure to you guys personally as an individual. But again, you guys are involved in this transaction because you keep giving it to these companies to use you as business for the profit and the gain for them.
Yeah.
When they write it off, as you see it on your credit report, you see charged off, or you see
I mean, the
profit
1099-C
loss.
was
Yeah,
filed. They
profit
filed that
loss. They filed it.
1099-C.
Yeah,
They filed a 1099-C, and then somebody like Layla, because she told you guys she used to have,
the X collect.
a collection company, and they got a 1099-C from it that you never got, and then they sold the debt, so they've been paid. You paid them, they got paid from the security, and now they sold it when technically everybody they sell it to should go to you. Do you know how good it feels? You sit with your credit report, like you all set up, you know how to work, Iris, and you just sit there and you say, okay, let me let the IRS know because we are tax free. Everything is taxable. It's off of them. So I'm going to get my money. How? I'm going to make the IRS do it. We're done talking. We ain't marching and we ain't fucking protesting. We typing. Come on, y'all. We typing. That's it. And it all start with a trust. It all, and see, like I said, Layla just told you guys she's still learning this side of it. And I know y'all like, huh? But the public side is the trust. That woman is a walking trust, okay? When I tell you she is a walking trust. Because I had to explain to her, like, yep, you got to have that trust for IRS purposes side, which is why you get the CP 575 saying that you have to pay taxes, which is good because you know that you're going to get it all back. But then your private trust, no EIN, it is non-statutory. That's where your estate go in. Your estate goes in there. Okay.
Yeah,
Because it's
one thing I
private.
am not afraid to say is when I don't know something. And that's what gives you room to grow and learn. Some people are like, I got it, I got it, I got it, or they're like sitting in here, maybe some are not even paying attention and been checked out. But that's why you have to clear your mind to receive the information. It's something that I don't understand. And if it's something that I really want to help my family, I mean, the core thing is like when we're looking at everything we do in our natural form, everything we do when we walk outside our houses, we're giving our information, we're engaging into business transactions as ourselves. If we never create something to separate us, that's why we keep giving our securities away. We call it social, but the securities is not to be social. But they created this company, the SSA, which is a registered entity through the state, right, to do business. The SSA is not a government company. It's a registered company that's backed by the government. And we just keep giving it because we think that we're supposed to give it, but we don't even question giving our information is requirement. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
an option.
So most of the time is an option, and people don't realize
Mhm.
that.
If it's not satisfied.
Jason Wade, I like your comment. When I cut the comments off on my side, yours is just sitting there. And he said, "Iris is a part of your eye, your third eye, because when
Mhm.
you crack that crown chakra all the way open, baby, you can't unsee it, you can't unfeel it, and you see everything." And I never looked at it like that, Jason. You are absolutely right. The iris is a part of your eye. Open your eyes and see. Someone else just asked, do I move my certificates and credit to the revocable trust, then use the 8832 to move it to the revocable trust to balance the books? Absolutely. Huh? What does that mean? If you already, no, I literally just told y'all what to do. Like, I ain't said nothing about no 8832s. I said you need a passport and a P.O. box for the public side. And on the private side, you need ID.me, a trust, a 2848, and a 56, and a certificate of trust sent to the IRS, and make sure that your notary box is the four-corner rule, and it is not an acknowledgement, but it's a direct. And then I said, sign up for the IRS system. I ain't said nothing about no 8832. So y'all thinking too much. It's just what I said. Now, once you do all of that, of course, you're gonna have to know how to work the system. But why would I tell you guys that now? Y'all ain't ready to work the system. You probably don't even have access to IRS. And if you know, you know. Because it's after ID.me is you have to sign up for it. Right? If you don't have a trust and you're on this card, you should have a trust. Your trust comes with a certificate of trust. Your trust comes with, then you do the 56. Yes, you're going to give them your social to EIN. Your trust is a taxable person. You are the trustee. Y'all remember back in school when we first learned how to write our name, and they will have, or you got in trouble in school and your teacher to say, write 50 times straight in a row this, right? Y'all need to do that with y'all name and put TTEE behind it so you will never forget. And shout out to the people who register for this live. I talked to Layla about this, that had TTEE at the end of their name for this live. That let me know that you have it now, right? And you understand the importance of the TTEE. Right? But you need a trust and it needs to be protected. And even though before I started dealing with Layla, I had a trust, it took her to school me on this side for some provisions I was missing, some protection, right? Some protection that I was missing. I knew I needed a trust and I had one. I knew my stuff needed to be in there. But then when I looked at it, I was like, oh, right. But now I have all of the protections that are needed. Everything is transferred there. The IRS know who the hell I am and what it is that I do. And when you do taxes properly, because you're properly set up, it takes 14 to 21 days to receive your payment. 14 to 21 days. When you fill out a 1099 A or B, it's done within 24 hours. Boom, it's hitting your transcript. And they're not questioning it. They're not going to question the return because guess what? Every 21 days, you have been reporting that I owe DTE, or at least that's what they say. But I'm going to balance this out. And then when you balance it out, it puts a negative, which is a credit, on your bill. And we all know that Regulation Z say that if your account has more than $1 in it, all you have to do is call and request it. It's a win-win. Your money problems are gone. So right now, the issues that you guys have is you got to sit back. You got to make a plan. And you have to do the plan. And if I'm telling you that what you need on this public side of the system, because this is still public, is your trust, your ID.me, and your IRS, and your 56. That's all you should be worried about right there. And if you really go on the IRS website, it tells you everything. It absolutely tells you everything. So that's what it is that you need. Move your assets over to your trust and learn and be ready for this next tax season that's coming up. And in order for you to be ready for that part of the season, guess what you got to do? Everything that I said. Hold on, y'all. Somebody.
I actually thinking about doing a quick ebook for this. Like the Do You Understand? Because I did wanted to, work on this project of Do You Understand? This is why we named it the webinar. This family meeting. This. I did release, of course, like the Chat GPT, because again, people are so confused by the document. I always share with people that the document is not the important thing, because you could have the trust sitting on a coffee table, and if you don't know how to transfer assets to fund it using the certificate of trust to control what is being used. If anybody noticed that for those that have a declaration of trust and for those that have a certificate of trust, you're not using the declaration of trust to fund the trust. You're always using or utilizing the certificate of trust, or that document
I'm
In
sorry,
different states, I always like to throw out there the abstract trust or the memorandum of trust, the trustee deed, things like that. You are utilizing that document to prove that it can be titled in that name. And then you want to keep the bookkeepings on what you're transferring. It's just wouldn't make sense for you to put your trust in the put your bank account in the trust and then no one knows what bank it is. So if you're not
y'all. Right.
documenting what you're funding the trust and when you're funding the trust, I think that's also important and valid as well. And you sharing that with your family, you're always going to have an addendum. You're always going to have paperwork that's going to go connected to that declaration of trust because you're making changes, you're funding it, you're adding assets. If you have a life insurance policy and you put the trust as the owner, wouldn't it be helpful if you put in writing the name of the company and what the trust is owning that company so your family can say, oh, we can call, MetLife Insurance Company because we know the trust is the owner of that policy. People are missing a lot of steps and then they're like, oh my God, I went to this person and I don't know everything. It is a lot that, the core thing, if you do have a trust, now you need to start learning how to operate it. Don't just put all that mercy on one person. And, minor changes is that you can document, let's say you have a baby, you can document, oh, this child was not in the trust in 2025 because the child wasn't born. But then you have a birth certificate that is now identifying why this child is now being added to the trust because the child was born in 2026, 2027. It's just certain things that I think that people are overthinking and then they're missing when and how we can make a change. And
They
how does
definitely
that look?
overthink it. They are definitely overthinking. Just looking at some of the questions. So if your trust is a protector, think about this, guys. If your trust is to protect and to keep you private, why would you name it your name? No, you absolutely would not name it your name because it's to be private, right? So if you make it as your whole name, living trust behind it, everybody's going to still know that issue. So no, it most definitely will not be in your name. You can make the name of the trust whatever it is that you choose to make the name of the trust. You got that on the 1040. I'm so ready to get your darn credits. Yeah, you probably got that letter and you did it on the 1040. Why are you giving them 40%? Haven't we given these people enough? And then you giving them 40. How do you go from saying I'm not a statutory employee, but you're filling out statute employee documents? Come on, y'all. That's just as bad as, and I know a lot of people gonna be mad I said this. Y'all, people be hollering, well, clause 1 of the Constitution, but wait a minute. Didn't you just say you ain't a U.S. citizen, but you doing citizen shit? That's not the right Constitution. Where's your Bill of Rights? Where is the original Constitution for we did? Y'all see how y'all be mixing public and private? And see, in this world, mixing public and private will get you in jail. So I'm gonna even give you this example or make you owe. So you didn't file the 1041 and they about to get you back 300,000. But the bank account that you put on there was in your all caps name. You didn't mix public and private. You cannot mix public and private. Now you can take from the public and give it to the private though. Right? Period. You can't. So that you can protect it. Y'all gonna have to pick and choose. Are you going to handle your own affairs or are you gonna keep saying, I got the right to bear arms? Well, you do, but you use their constitution. It doesn't make sense. Y'all have to look, they play a very wicked game, but you're gonna have to see through it with your iris and get it together, y'all. I mean, no more the company saying no, we can't do that. Okay, no, you're fired. We went on the firing thing last year. What did I say? Fire their ass. But in order for you to fire them, that's like having a business that you have not ran one day in your life. All your employees quit or they got fired, and you're standing in the middle of your own establishment. Like, I don't even know how to cut the stove on, right? This is the same thing you guys are doing with this. Get past the somebody owe you something because they don't. Well, they do, but you're going to have to work for what they owe you. And they took it because you freely gave it. Now go and get it back and do it properly where you don't have any hiccups, you don't have any issues, those things of that nature. And how do you do that? You are putting it on the record, write the vision and make it plain upon those that will read it. Let me say it again. You are writing the vision, your trust. You made it plain, like, this is what it is and this is what it not is. And for everybody who will read it, because you got a four-corner box for the gerund and not the acknowledgement, write the vision and make it plain for those that will read it. And y'all have to let go of the fear. So that's those are the things that you need. I'm telling you now that if you do not have those things that I've discussed in this live today, when I do drop the how you work Iris, how you get your money, how you do your 1099, A, B, all that stuff, the straight, well, you can't come. And I'm telling you now. You're not going to be able to come because you're not going to keep wasting your time or mine, and definitely my energy, right? And if you're not ready for that, then you're not ready for that. Stop second guessing yourself. Stand with confidence that you got this. These people got my shit and I'm coming back to get it. But instead of me talking to Mercedes talked to IRS. I talk to Iris talk to the IRS. Now you talk to the IRS. There go the steps. You talk to Iris talks to the Treasury. Okay. Then Iris settle you out. But then it's going to Mercedes like, hey. You said that this person only made this number's not right. Then they audit the account. You're paid. And then Mercedes has to pay. Because all of our debts is written. And this is the steps. I know it may sound like, oh my God, is it that easy? There you go. We're back under the Republic. Now act like it. Act like it, y'all. Step into your power because you got it. Do what you need to do. And stop playing with these motherfucking people, y'all. Now let me get Detroit on y'all. Stop it. Stand the fuck up and do what you got to do. Get a goddamn trust. Get a trust.
I actually, right now, I'm going to put in my story because this is not going to be released on the web. Well, it is on the website because I have to make it a product. But I'm going to bring back the $1,800 sale for the coaching session. I promise you, I only did a few, very few. I ain't gonna tell you the number because I ain't gonna entice you guys like that. So I'm gonna put this on my story really quickly. Um, and I'm only going to leave a few sessions here. And because I know this is live stream and it will be up as a replay, it is only temporary for the live students that is in the session right now. And I'm going to drop it. It's in the story right now. And it's on the site at www.LAYLALOCKWOOD.com. I know there's going to be some people that's going to be like, I still need coaching session. I still need a little help, especially when you have state specifics, when you have specialized type of situations that you want to form the trust, whether if it's co-trustees, if you have a spouse, if you have blended family, there are certain reasons and ways that people want to kind of form their documents. We just want to show you how to do it. We want to show you as far as that. And again, I think I want to go ahead and just drop an ebook, something that is going to be helpful as a guide. Some people are readers. Again, you can always just let this render and for it to be up on YouTube. So I appreciate Tamika all the time for, pushing me and helping me. You guys don't even understand. I've been in creator's block for a couple of months now because I did recently get married. But I'll talk about that as well because we did not get legally married on paper. People probably say, why would you do all that, have this big extravagant wedding? Because a lot of people don't know that I was married before, and me and my husband were married before. We got married to the state, and we learned a lot of things on our journey, and we decided to bring our union back, but our bond is through the trust. And I think that is really going to be exciting for people to learn our story. And I got married on November 29th. So I've been literally not in work mode, and I've never really let go and step back away from the creative space of even creating content. I have never stepped away from that. And it felt good to even step away, to be more attentive to my family. I have my grandson here that's with me. So it's a lot that I just really just unfolded into being a home wife and mother for my children and grandmother. So when Tamika called me, and know that you guys are on this mission and you guys are on this path of closing this year out. And I know how critical it is for you guys to um, finish this year out strong and then going into the next year, because so much is changing around you. And if you're going to stay the same, you truly have been already left behind. And there are ways that you can just kind of catch up and kind of start where you are in your family. You know, I see a lot of people saying that the fear is gone. I see a lot of the comments that are stating that I really needed to hear this. It's, you have to take back control. Like, again, people are not going to understand, you know, why we had this big extravagant wedding and not being legally married to the state, because that's how much we understand and we know the power of the state taking control.
Yeah. And they gonna take it too. I told y'all they took all my mom. I mean, they took it everything. I ain't even got a baby picture of me. They took so much shit, right? And I am so serious. They went in and took everything and didn't tell us, but they said they put it in the newspaper.
Mm. Well, that's
The power of the newspaper. And that's how I learned in 2012 the power of the newspaper with my mom passing, right? But the system has changed and it's in our favor. I'm telling y'all, it's in our favor. It is in our favor. These all of these corporations been sanctioned to get off our land anyway, right? This is why they're changing their primary offices, and they just made themselves another business that look like the same business, but the documentation and the paperwork is different now, right? Um, but you have the right to take back what belongs to you. And like I said, we're not asking any longer. There's no more hello. No, make them talk to you. Talk to Iris. Iris talk to the Treasury, and then Iris go talk to them while they pay you out and know how to do it properly, so you won't be hit with no tax fraud or other things because you did not do it properly or hold up. Like you see, it's her name, not to call you out, Roxanne, but she like, hey, I got that on the 1040. I'm so ready to get my darn credits. I bet you are. But I can promise you this. I don't know what you did, but if it wasn't right, or if you're trying to, I'm burning from myself with a 1040V, that's not what that's for. A 1040 ES, nobody should be looking at a 1040 anyway. You should be wanting to do a 1041 under God, under God, under the Republic, so that you can get back every credit that belongs to you. You have to understand this world run because of us, the living. And it's an absolute way to do it. And it's a way that it needs to be done correctly so that you can properly live your life and pass this information on down to your children.
mm-hmm.
Right. And like I said, this is just the public side of it. I'm not giving the private side to nobody that's not ready. If you're not ready, if you ain't ready, I'm not giving it to you. You know, I know you're like, oh, you be holding information. I'm not holding anything. I actually tell you guys, but you don't understand what I'm saying because you don't have a understanding to overstand that I've always given y'all the answers. I promise you I give it, but you don't have an understanding to overstand nothing it is that I said. And the only way you're going to get there is by doing the work. It's a few of y'all. I'm proud as hell of y'all. Y'all know who y'all are. That a year ago they was asking totally different questions, and now they understand it because guess what? This is your walk. I've done the walk, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't fail down. I didn't have to start back over. And look, y'all see all the adversities I go through for a whole bunch of strangers, and nothing never still stop. I may take a break because baby, who don't need a break? But I come back out swinging because guess what? I'm her.
Mm-hmm.
I know the value that I bring.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my assignment. Who comes and who goes. One thing for sure, don't take away the credit of the work that I've done because there's a lot of people in this space now because of me. Y'all better recognize. Step Endorse saying that's mine. I and people say, oh, the information is free. You're right. It is free, but I read it. I brought it back to the world and I created a process off of it. So yeah, I used their words against them, but the PO process, mine, I got 3 cars in front of the house now off of the PO process and 2 in the garage. PO process, I brought that out. Looking at security SEC forms 10K and 8K, brought that out in 2019. Verizon was the first one I ever looked at and told people, hey, all the answers is on this piece of paper. Stamp endorsing, me too. The company that y'all was buying the stamp from, I can show the email where I contacted them. And they said that I could have done a partnership with them and charge whatever. I said, I don't want the partnership. I just need you to make sure that the measurements are correct. I can show y'all the email because y'all know I'm a receipt trapper. The e-verify, how to cut yourself. Yeah, that's me too. The stamps for the get your certified copy of your police, you know what I'm saying, record, your court record, and put the 10-cent stamp. That was me too. The first 1099A and the 1099C, where you put your beneficiary in the box after your last name when you were doing the C to cancel out the, guess who that was too? Me. Y'all can take a lot, but what you can't say is that I have not been one of the many influential persons in this space, and I got more receipts than everybody.
Well,
I
that's
have
why, that's why I always say plant the seed. When you plant the seed, you watch it grow. And anybody that tried to imitate or duplicate or whatever the case may be, they know where the roots came from. So I think that
stay
for
rooted.
someone, I was about to say, stay rooted. I know there's a lot of people that don't like my choice of delivery. I don't come on here to sound perfect. I told you I was stuttering and all this kind of stuff. I'm a human, right? That had to learn this information. Y'all have to realize y'all have been watching my journey, my story unfold in front of you guys. I have lost my father and my grandmother in front of y'all I have not. This is why I'm okay with just kind of being in a different space right now. A lot of people are asking me, am I going to just completely stop? I don't think I'll be able to, because I'm always be a trustee, and I will always be able to help assist with other people. But I have been pouring and giving it to so much to you guys that I'm just really allowing, I really feel like I'm allowing my husband to really pour into me. Like, I love on you guys so much that I even felt guilty at one point, just feeling like being loved on. My assistant had to literally push me and tell me, I got you. I'm working on this on behind the scenes because of me getting prepared and getting married. So I tell people all the time, like, me showing up on social media, I don't have marketing strategies, you guys. I don't. I didn't take a marketing class. I ain't working no bank. I ain't working no, I don't have those backgrounds. I went to these particular establishments. I sat down in front of these agents, these people that represent these companies, and I see their position and I mirror their position, because I know that I'm sitting in front of a person that is acting on behalf of an entity. So I
Right.
had to, be the same way. I had to sit in front of these third parties, act on behalf of either the entity or act on behalf of the trust. It's not very hard, but when you look at so many different layers as to why you're doing it, then it will help you understand how far you're going to go with this concept.
And you know what they don't realize is that every contract that you sign and every time you sign your name,
Divine.
you're acting as a trustee and fiduciary anyway. Why do you think that when the all caps, because that's what it is, owe taxes or got a court case, that you are the one that's penalized because you are violating your trustee fiduciary duties that you didn't even know that you had? You are signing for your corporation as a sole proprietor. Why do you think, as a sole proprietor, they say you can still use your social,
Mm,
right? But then why did I just say that as a grantor's trust, anything that was up under your social can be brought over to your 1041, because it can, but it's not protected from outside people,
mhm,
right? And corporations, because it's not in the trust name.
mhm,
Yes, as because it's a grantor trust, which means the grantor, which is you, accumulated this. That's like having a light bill in your name and then the gas bill in the trust name. And when it's time to file the taxes and add up all the amounts, you still added up the light bill and the gas bill. You guys have been acting like you're acting like the grantor, the beneficiary, the executor, the trustee. You have been everything, but you never solidified it, right? And now they're looking at you. This is how the IRS is looking at everybody who's not set up right.
mm,
Trading with the Enemy Act. You're helping the enemy evade taxes from the IRS
mm,
because you're not reporting the securities And the barter exchanges that these people are doing. Now, mind you, I'm telling you, when y'all get y'all first, after you file your 1099B, after you get the first one back where the IRS going to be like, wait a minute, you only put, let's say it's a car, you only put 89,000, you did, right? With you being the recipient and they being the one that's sending it. And when you send that in, that triggers an audit. And the IRS going to be like, well, wait a minute. Mercedes said that this person gained $1.3 billion in credits, but they just said it's only 90,000. So that triggers something. When you will see the amount of money that these people are saying that they gave to us every quarter, you will hit. Look, y'all gonna blow them up because they are reporting that they are giving to you this amount of money. You are in the recipient box. What does recipient mean? To receive. And you have no clue about it because guess what? Just like with a business, all legal documents go through what? Your registered agent. And so you're not getting any of these IRS forms because they're going to them and they're hiding them from you. But the IRS law said, and I posted this years ago, that it doesn't matter if you knew about this money or not, you are responsible for it. So if you're going to be responsible for it, you can be penalized for tax evasion, and you're helping all of these companies be trading with the enemy. You are the enemy because you are not speaking up. Be a snitch for the first time. It's okay, y'all. I got street code. Y'all know I'm 313. What up, though? Right? We don't. I can't see in one eye and blind in the other one when it comes to search shit. But let me say, snitch.
And it's so crazy because when I learned this, when I'm learning, well, I'm still learning, y'all. So I'm a student right here. Y'all see how we focus, but that understands the abandoned property a lot. That does understand. It helps me understand the 1099 is it A or B being abandoned property.
You do both because the A is for. So if you do it in the beginning, it will be considered an acquisition, right? So they acquire a security from you, and now you're reporting it properly, right? But then you're doing a barter exchange. So then you have the barter as well because they are out there exchanging your security, making money for you, and you're giving them a percentage, which is only supposed to be 20%, 80-20 rule. So now you did a barter exchange with them being a security transfer agent. These dirty bastards is keeping all the money and making you pay. But guess who all the liability is on? You. Protect yourself. Protect yourself. I was at the post office the other day at a one that I normally don't go to, and I looked at all of the PO boxes that were just waiting for someone to say, hey, would you like to stuff me with something? Like, because you don't realize that these things are needed. But if you want full control of your life, and I mean full control, and get paid in the process, because everybody wants some goddamn money, right? And it's okay. That's how you're gonna get it. Now I hope that once you get the money, that you know how to protect the money outside of just in your trust with the new currency and all of that, which is why you've seen you've seen me, you've seen Layla, you've seen me with Skyton Academy, because it's like a puzzle and we all fit together, but you guys are not realizing the importance of that. Which is sad. Do y'all see that all of the banks are trying to come to us? Look, once again, they got to come to us. They are trying to trade Bitcoin in for credit. Who hold the Bitcoin? We do. So they're trying to come to us to get Bitcoin because they can't do nothing without us.
You the asset.
So it's not about not getting into contracts with these people. It's like, yeah, you want me to sign that? No problem. Tamika, blah, 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 TTEE. Okay, so now let me go home and I'm about to, hey, Iris. Okay, I just did a deal today with such and such, Amazon. Let me let the IRS know. Boom, 24, 48 hours and hit my transcript. I'm like, hell yeah. Because guess what? At the end of the year, it's the end of the year now. I'm going to file my taxes on it. Amazon going to have to pay. And Tamika got paid. That's why you keep all your receipts. Those are transactions. That's why I told you guys when I first came back, hey, add up all your accounts, all your deposits, 2022, 2023, 2024. Now, Can you still file 2022? You absolutely can. Are you going to be penalized? You sure the fuck is. But I'd rather be penalized with some money than no money, and then they get to keep it, right? Because it's considered abandoned. Now, as
Mm.
far as your abandoned property, since Layla brought up abandoned property, you get your abandoned property from your county when you file that you are through your private trust, because that's your estate. But in order for you to get the private, you know what I'm saying, the abandoned property via the estate, you have to have the court on your side as under God. That's where the private trust comes in. Then you can petition the court properly under God to release what belongs to you. And it goes into the private trust, because if you take your estate and put it in a public trust with the EIN number, you have now just mixed public and private. Your public shit is the shit you're doing now. Your private stuff is when you go and collect what belongs to you. So that's it. You need a trust. You need a certificate of trust, a 2848, a 56, a understanding of the IRS circulars and rules and how you properly file. You need a trust bank account, and you're going to sit every 21 days when you go get your bills off of auto pay, get that bill back in the mail, sit down at your table, learn how to do what needs to be done. Now, what I will do, I have decided to do. I know some of y'all are already in my YouTube VIP, and I know y'all are like, damn it, where's she at? Okay, I'm coming back, y'all. I'm coming in there, and because before I give out the text class, I need to know that you guys are in the proper position. You got everything in order, because I don't want no excuses. All I want is you like to make. I got my money. That goddamn path to freedom. She might tell you a joke, but she gonna tell you a joke, but she still ain't told me no lie, because I got my money at 18 days. I'm telling you, take 14 to 21 days. I will show you. I'm gonna post. I'm about to make a lot of people mad, but I don't give a fuck. And I got 500 rounds. Y'all remember that, right? I will show you guys what I got last quarter and waiting on this quarter. That's why Rick Ross said debt is good, baby. Debt is amazing. Like Layla told you, she was a debt collector. Wasn't debt good? Because the debt she got, she made money. Debt is a run it
Yeah,
up.
allegedly.
Allegedly, run it up.
I'm
So
gonna be honest. If it really messed with my spirit, so that's kind of like why I really got out of the industry. But I mean, according to the collections industry, 1,000 to 1 know their rights. That means out of 1,000 people, only one know their
only
rights.
one knew their
So
rights.
it was a very lucrative industry, but it's a very, very greedy, very like hyena, like take type
Can you
of.
give, and then
I
since
just
you were physically in that, so can you give us an example? So you said you did a bidding.
mhm,
So let's just say you bought a file with 2,000 profiles in it.
mhm.
What would be the typical cost that you would pay for a debt profile, like the little file?
So they do it by millions. So they'll say like this is a 1 million file. I wasn't big enough at that time, you guys. So I was able to be when they first grandfathered into a company, that means I was able to have a registered entity that went up under the umbrella of a major collection agency. So I was able to kind of like quote unquote share their payment processing, which is their payment processing was out of the United Kingdom, or they was in Argentina. This is how I got my first experience of a foreign robbery. Okay. We were able to have our own companies, of course, based on how our accounts were set up in the company that was processed. That's when I knew I got a remit, like a remittance check that was deposited into the trust owned bank account. Thank you. Um, inside the personal bank account. So from there, we would do files all the time. Let's say 10,000 was a 1 million file, or 20,000 was a quarter million file. These are just
So
like
when
if
you when
you're
you
paying
when you say
$10,000, they're stating that
when
you
you
could.
say
Mhm.
when you say a million file, are you saying that you just bought $1 million worth of debt for $10,000?
Correct.
Do you hear how much they're selling your debt for? Did they got the audacity to be calling you like you owe them and you don't? Guess what? You're gonna learn that when the debt collector call you, because it's like you're gonna know, hey, please send me the bill. Tell them to send it to you because they're gonna send it to your PO box. And as soon as you get it, you're gonna go home and say, hey, Iris should be all y'all best friend. Hey, Iris, because guess what? They now just bought the debt, which is a security. They're making money off of it because the original trustee and fiduciary that you signed, you never took away their powers, which means they can continuously transfer it here and there. But guess what? I bet you would have stopped at Iris. So now you didn't got paid twice off the debt, just like them. You got it originally because you're with that company. Now you got the debt three there.
Because it's the company that sold it, and then it's the collection agency that purchased it, and then like another company is a write-off. So both companies can do a write-off on the bad debt. So me as a collection agency, allegedly, remember I'm an ex-collector at the time. If we did not collect on it, we can write it off as a credit for the company.
I hear that.
Because it was deemed non-collectible. Because sometimes they sold us deceased files. They were like, they sold us a file of all deceased people. And I'm like, we can't collect on it. But we could be creative to call family members and be like, I know Mr. Joe passed away, but he left you in charge to pay this debt for him. And they be like, my Uncle Joe ain't going out like that. How much is it? And we'll just collect on it because you volunteer.
You volunteer.
It's called submission of guilt for us. If they knew their rights, they didn't have to pay it. That's why I was trying to explain to people that deceased people don't pay debt. It's the family members or the representative of the estate that is forced to pay it. If you are on the contracted line and you are the alleged debtor and you are no longer living, we cannot go through anybody to pay it. We would have to sue the estate. But who wants to do that? You could just call your cousin and them and pay it, and then you guys pay it.
Correct. And then if you have your estate set up properly through the private trust, guess what? She can't sue your estate. We only got a few minutes because it's actually look, I'm gonna tell you I'm happy that you put this on YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. Because the first beginning part of this live, about 30 minutes of it did not get recorded. I am so happy it's on your page though, right? Because it's only a 2-hour time frame. But what that did was that actually extended the time from the time I finally hit the last little button for it to start recording. So that's a good thing. But we only have like 8 minutes left. Someone did ask a question. Once the trust is typed up and notarized, do we file probate in the state in which we are born or in our domicile state? So this is my answer to that. The full faith and credit. Everybody think that means, oh my God, they got my money, but they do. But under the full faith and credit, because all the states are a part of the union, every state that you move to now gets your estate. So you absolutely want to do it in the state in which it is that you currently reside in, that you domicile in. Now, if you're doing the full private trust, yes, you will do it in the state that you domicile in, as well as you will put it on the record in the state in which it is that you were born, because it's that county clerk. You're going to be like, hey, let me get that. Right. It's also, as Layla told you guys, if you've lived in different states, every state says that you owe them. So if you put the trust, like me, I lived in North Carolina at one point. I lived in Michigan. I live where I'm at. My trust is at all three. So when the time comes, 150 Ethiopian years from now, North Carolina can't come back and say, oh, she owe us, because everything, the trust is on the record there. Right.
Not there too. What we also do is kind of put the registered agent, which a lot of people don't know. The registered agent for you being an entity is where your vital record statistics has your documentation, your birth record, your birth certificate. When someone passes away, even if you've relocated, because there's situations, unfortunate situations where people die, visiting at another state or out of the country, and you got to bring that body back. That's all tied into paying. A state has to pay for that, or somebody has to pay for that. Or if the state don't pay for it, the family members are going to have to pay for it out the estate, or the estate pays for it, right? So you want to put your birth certificate number in that trust document as well, which is the declaration. These are the things that they don't reveal, right? These are the things that you don't show. This is why the certificate of trust allows your document to stay private. Okay, so you are protecting your birth estate where you're born. Because that's where they're going to produce the death certificate.
It's your earn. That's why you put it there too. So so what I am going to do is I will.
And somebody said in the chat that prevents the escheatment, which is abandoned property.
Yeah,
it as well.
That's where you get your abandoned property from, is your county, like your registry thing. I think I showed you guys my cover letter at one point in time that has down who's my registered agent. The registered agent number is the number on the birth certificate. Who is the agent? The county clerk. So y'all remember the graph that I put up that showed everything started from the hospital to the clerk, which is why when you do your UCC1, you got the hospital if they're still open down as a debtor. You have the county clerk down as a debtor, you have the state down as a debtor, because that's where everything started at, right? Um,
And
but
then
what I am
also
going to
how
do
when you
is,
get married. That's why a lot of people don't understand. You think about every certificate, right? I know I talked about this before, but there are some people that haven't heard me speak. But you have the birth certificate that identifies the natural person. You have that marriage certificate that understands that you created a separate estate. This is why your estate joined as one. So you have a marital estate, and then you also have that certificate of trust too, where these are all certificates. Even when you do business, right? You have to file through the Secretary of State and get a business certificate to be approved to do business in that state. Everything, every time you're doing something, you're identifying the capacity as to whom you are. When you get married, you change your title, right? Your title changes to MRS versus MS, right? But then when you become a trustee and you have a certificate of trust, it's like then that certificate of trust will allow you to add TTEE on the back of your name. You're operating in a different title, a different capacity. So I think that we start understanding that we do things and we see it on the like we see it all the time, but we're not internalizing that we can just kind of reshift our mind so we can know how to move through society. How I contribute to society, I can make that choice. Whether if I'm going to be a natural person, a legal person, a trustee, or corporate
and
individual.
then and then the beneficiary, you got a lot of roles. You need to learn your roles, learn your position, and know when to use them.
Yes.
But um, I will in the VIP YouTube room, I will go through a session of making sure that you have the documents that you need and they're filled out properly, and more importantly, that you have the no fear in what you're doing. Right? I'll even do an example trust. I will put in there. Now, my example trust ain't a Layla trust, but baby, it's gonna protect you. Okay, so for some of y'all that say I ain't got no money, guess what? Over in the VIP YouTube room, I will be dropping that. I will be updating the room this week with the documents, and I think that I will go live in there the next couple weeks one time, because I can use Webinar Jam in there where I can actually show my screen and etc. Look, I'm learning, y'all. So I'll definitely be doing that to help people, because I would love to show everybody how to properly file them taxes and get that moolah, right? I truly do appreciate everybody for joining us tonight. And before we leave, I just want to give y'all a statement, okay? So now y'all listen to me closely. You were never meant to live in fear of a system built off of your name. That name, that number, that estate is yours, not theirs. They tricked generations into thinking freedom was something to ask for. But you were born with it. Your birthright is abundance, dominion, and authority over both realms, public and private. You don't need permission, you need remembrance. Please remember who you are. You don't need approval, you need alignment. Get aligned. And you damn sure don't need to bow to a lie when the truth is in your blood. Stand up, speak boldly, file with intention. File with intention. Because this system was never broken, it was built this way. And you're now here to correct the record. You are the trustee, the executor, and a living divine soul. Walk like it, file like it, be like it. Freedom isn't given, it's filed. File the right shit, but more importantly, take away the fear. Because remember, you are the trustee, you are the executor, you are the beneficiary. And until you put it on the record that you're all these things, they're going to continue to rob you blind. If I was you, the IRS tell you everything. Pull up Iris, figure out how to work her. So when the time comes, you'll be able to know what to do. Because once you get it once, it's going to become repetitive.
Mhm.
Write your name down with TTEE behind it 50 times. Because guess what? That repetition is going to make you never forget to put that TTEE behind your name. I appreciate every last one of you who came on the live. Of course, when I drop a post, it is for a reason. And based off of you guys is the questions and the answers that you guys have given, I will make sure that I try to address those things so that the disconnect, because we're all supposed to be with our birthright of abundance. And their time is up. Our time is now. 2026 is the year of the horse, baby. Fast, swift. Okay. It's time to trample these people and take back our rights. Okay. And take back our our estates. Layla, thank you so much as usual. I love you. I
I love you
appreciate
too. I appreciate it. Listen, you guys, I really don't have much to say. She did everything that, that was beautifully put. You're on the front line for your bloodline. Stay rooted. All right. Yo, guys, I'm ending this also on YouTube. If you guys are not following on YouTube, just go ahead and hit the follow because I will be dropping some more valuable information in reference to just, understand and trust. Y'all have a good night. Take care.